Our closed session. Ms. City Clerk, are there any public comments for closed session?
Give me one moment. I knew I was forgetting something. I'm checking if there are any
Okay.
online public comments.
All right. In the meantime, can your assistant maybe call the roll real quick?
Councilmember Sanchez,
Here.
Councilmember Ibarra,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Here.
Mr. Fresher's not here. Councilmember Reynoso,
I'm here.
Councilmember Calvin,
Present.
Councilmember Alexander,
Here.
and Mayor Valdivia.
Here. Thank you. All right, Ms. City Clerk, any public comments?
I'm not showing any at the
Okay. All right, Mr. City Manager, any announcements before we go in? Okay, very good. We'll recess into closed session. Is March 16, 2022, and we call to order this joint regular meeting of the Mayor and City Council and the Mayor and City Council acting as the successor agency to the redevelopment agency of the City of San Bernardino. We welcome you, our viewing audience on Channel 3, as well as those members of the public here gathered, and we welcome you to our City Council chambers here at the Feldheim Library. If you have not had the opportunity to explore the wonders of our city library, this is a wonderful and fantastic facility. We've seen some fantastic improvements and upgrades. At this time, I will call and invite Reverend Stephen Shepard. Reverend Shepard, sir, welcome. Reverend Shepard will lead us in a word of prayer, and then I will ask Councilman Charette to please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If we'll all rise, please. Okay, thank you very much. I want to extend my deep appreciation to the Reverend Stephen D. Shepard, Sr. of the St. Paul AME Church. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your ministry here, and thank you for your ministry and the extension of love to our community through the ministry of St. Paul AME. Thank you for being here tonight, and we wish you continued success at the church. At this time, I will recognize the city clerk to please call the roll.
Councilmember Sanchez.
Here.
Councilmember Ibarra.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Here.
Councilmember Charette.
Here.
Councilmember Reynoso.
Here.
Councilmember Calvin.
Present.
Councilmember Alexander.
Here.
Mayor Valdivia.
Present. Thank you very much, Ms. City Clerk. At this time, I will ask for a closed session report. Ms. City Attorney.
Mayor, council members, and members of the public, we did have closed session tonight to discuss 3 items of existing litigation. We do not have any reportable action on those items.
Very good. Thank you very much. At this time, before our city manager makes his announcement, I want to announce publicly that Breeze Airways announces our nonstop service between San Bernardino International Airport and San Francisco International Airport, marking the first ever scheduled passenger flights for the San Bernardino marketplace. We are extremely excited about the opportunity to continue those flight paths and patterns here out of our San Bernardino International Airport. You're going to see a lot of planes coming in to San Bernardino. You've already seen that, and we're really excited about that opportunity. Just last year, we unveiled and cut the ribbon for Amazon Prime Air, and it's a great, great facility, bringing 7,000 jobs, 25 flights daily, and now with the added exposure for Breeze Airways. Breeze Airways is an offshoot of Virgin Atlantic and JetBlue, with the experience and able, steady hand of David Needleman. And I am really, really excited about Breeze Airways coming to our city and San Bernardino International Airport. So with that, I will hand it over to our city manager, Mr. Field.
Thank you. Well, I guess page 1 of my report just got provided, but we should note the first flights are going to start in August. So everybody's excited about Breeze coming to San Bernardino Airport. Public Works, a couple things going on in the public works world. One of the neat things, I think Councilman Sanchez in particular will probably be pleased with this one. 2nd Street Bridge is back underway. We had a gap in time, unfortunately, as a result of some problems between us and Edison. Those have been resolved, and the project is back underway. Pretty excited about that. Should be done in June. Should be done in June. June. We're also working on, graffiti is an ongoing problem. Well, one of the approaches is to not just to cover it, but to deter it. And so there's a sort of a dazzle paint scheme that can be applied, and this is one of the other mechanisms available to us, which we're testing now. So we are using a local muralist who has volunteered to do this work. And we'll see what kind of savings we realize, but certainly graffiti, any approach we can take to eliminating the temptation to apply graffiti is a good thing. So, Public Works, good job, thank you. Police Department, a couple of huge busts. The first one was pretty sizable, as quite a bit of methamphetamine was seized. But the second one is more impressive and in a lot of ways more troubling. 25,000 fentanyl pills. I spoke with Chief Green about this, and he said basically that's enough to kill every single resident in San Bernardino multiple times over. And those fortunately were seized on March 11th. So a couple of really important moves there by the police department. Also, commercial vehicle enforcement. I think maybe several council members, Reynoso in particular, perhaps, would be pretty excited to see this is underway now. We have started operations in our commercial vehicle enforcement program, and they are busy. You can see what they did just in a couple of days of operation. So that is well underway. We also, as you will recall, at the last meeting, we approved getting to work on truck route restrictions. So we're going after that stuff in a pretty big way starting this year. Next slide. Arts Fest is coming back after 2 years. Saturday, March 19th, this coming Saturday, from 10 to 4, Court Street Square. Special shout out to the folks at both Parks, Recreation, Community Services, and Public Works for making this happen. Thank you guys for making this happen in a hurry. Yes, great to have it back. Animal Services. We don't put her up front because it's almost like cheating is too easy. I think one of these days Chris Watson's going to start bringing a prop or two in, a puppy and a kitten available for for adoption. They've been busy. Now we do have an issue, a continuing issue. If you want a new pet, please. We're still impounding a lot of animals, and we have maintained no kill status for dogs, and we have been that way for cats for a long time. But in any event, so that's important, but you can help us, the citizens of San Bernardino, and anyone else around here who wants to get a dog, you can do it, and doing microchipping for only $25. So it's important that we continue to maintain that status of no kill. Finally, news and notes. March is Women's History Month, so Feldheim is doing a celebration of this month. They've got some curated displays, both in the adult and children's sections. Very important, and if you get the opportunity, please stop by. And finally, our Human Resources Department is going digital. We're in constant recruitment mode now. It's no secret to anyone. So we are making use of a digital billboard on the 10 freeway at Waterman Avenue, and we're posting job availability there. And while we're at it, we can also use any help we can get. So if anybody on council, anybody in the room knows anybody who's looking for work, we are hiring in a lot of different departments right now. So and it's a great place to work. We're making a lot of important strides. You can drive around the town. You can feel it already. And this is going to be a big year. We're just getting started. So that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. What a fabulous report. I want to take a moment, please, to reflect on the passing of Dr. Thomas Rivera, who left a great legacy in our city. The community mourns the passing of our longtime educational leader, Dr. Tom Rivera. And at this time, we will ask for a moment of silence. Thank you. At this time, we will go ahead and go through council announcements, concluded by the mayor's announcements. And we will start to my left, Councilman Alexander, representing the 7th Ward. Sir?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good evening, San Bernardino. I hope all those doing well. I attended BNSF's leadership project. If you guys didn't know, that BNSF is doing an expansion project, and it's coming out, and it's an excellent project. So I toured what they had to offer, and they're doing some street improvements and some other light improvements to make the area safer. I also attended ICUC clergy community event along with Councilwoman Calvin. We both attended a clergy problem about a young man that passed away during some gun violence, and we're just trying to find ways to better address the gun violence in our city, along with the clergy. Also, I attended Coffee with the Cop, Eastern District with Lieutenant Fivey, was very well attended. Also, the general plan update in the 5th Ward at Shannon Hills Golf Course, the public came out. It was, if you haven't gone to any general plan updates, remember, you have to go to them because it's your involvement that's going to make this work. It's not the 7, 8 people up here, it's your involvement. It only gets better when you're involved. I went to the graduation over at the Mexican consulate. I passed out graduations to Emprendedora's graduation to a bunch of graduates over there. And this program is funded by the city, and it spurs entrepreneurial leadership. They get small businesses, and they go and they learn about accounting and how to handle books and all that. And it's funded by the city, and it was enlightening. But it was a great graduation for those 10 graduates. Also, remember that San Bernardino received a $720,000 grant from the state for getting rid of blight in our 4th Street alley. Thanks to David Freeman, Arlington Rogers, who wrote that grant. I appreciate you all. They did a wonderful job. And that's what we want to do. We want something to attract people into San Bernardino. And this is what we want to do. So thank you for that grant. Remember, 7th Ward, all you 7th Ward residents, our general plan update is 22nd of March to be at Ecclesia Church at 6 p.m. And happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody.
Thank you very much, Councilman. Councilmember Kim Calvin of the 6th Ward. Ma'am?
Good evening, San Bernardino. It's a pleasure to be back here to see all your faces. I love it when we get to look out and the room is full, because that's what we need to hear from our constituents, the community members. It is you who we work for, so I love it when I come in and the room is full. So thank you for coming out. So Ward 6, we did have our planning committee meeting, general plan committee meeting, and so I hear that we have a healthy competition between wards here, and I hear we kind of got beat a little bit on Saturday by Ward 2. So give it up for Ward 2. They had 50 people to come out. So that's wonderful, because that's why we have this healthy competition. So because we want everybody to come on out, learn what you need to learn, give your input, because all your input is being put inside of this data, this information, that this is what the city is going to be built on, is what you are telling the good folks from from PlaceWorks about what you want to see in your communities. Very happy about that. This past Saturday, I was out with the Veterans Homeless Stand and Reaching New Heights at the Powell Center, gave away food and a lot of good resources. I want to thank Lieutenant John Echeverria. He has been standing in for Lieutenant Eddie Flores as the Western District Commander over in the 6th Ward. He's been doing a phenomenal job, and I appreciate you, Lieutenant Echeverria. Hopefully you're listening right now. Again, attended the ICUC, the town hall, and it was very, very good. We had Captain Arrington was there. It was a heartwarming conversation, dealing with a lot of difficult and tough subjects, but that's what you have to do in order to get some things solved. You got to talk about them. So I was really happy that a lot of folks came out. Cimarron Ranch Neighborhood Association meeting is going to be on the 24th of this month. I also attended the 8th Annual Foster Youth Service Summit. Talk about it was virtual, but nevertheless, a lot of folks came on to listen, to talk about our youth that are in foster homes and services, that many more services that are needed. I mean, we probably don't think about it, but that's some of our most vulnerable folks in the city, are youth that are in foster services. I want to say it is Women's History Month, and I want to give a shout out. I attended the Women's United luncheon today. Really good room of women who are continuously for the past 10 years doing good work together in the city of San Bernardino to help all type of nonprofits, all type of young women in the community, to let them know that there's a lot of women in this city who are standing behind them and wishing all of the success for them as well. I also want to thank Habitat for Humanity. Habitat for Humanity has been doing good work in our country for years. But in the city of San Bernardino, they now have 3 homes that are underway for 3 single women, mothers with children. And it's important. These women are now going to be able to become homeowners, and I think that that's just a wonderful, wonderful project. So give it up for Habitat for Humanity. They're also going to be building 4 more coming soon. So those are my announcements. Again, thank you, San Bernardino.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Calvin. Councilmember Ben Reynoso of the 5th District, sir, you're recognized.
Thank you. It's nice to see a lot of familiar faces in here. There's a lot of labor in the house. I have some brief announcements. Just wanted to ensure everyone who's listening and anybody who will listen that the Oxbow cement pile, although it was vetoed, our city manager is doing his job. It's an issue that needs to be handled, so it will be handled. And so it'll come back. Don't know when it will come back, but that is absolutely in his job to do that. Making requests at the end of agenda is just a formal process for speeding things up. And that's why I request things all the time. And I don't really care to overburden or view it like that and limit myself as a council member while I'm here. I only have a certain amount of time is how I view it. And so expect to see something from Councilmember Reynoso at the end of every single agenda, because I didn't come in here with a blank slate. I came here with a lot of ideas, and a lot of ideas from the community. Wanted to announce, I heard Councilman Alexander said that you're having your general plan workshop. I hate to tear the crowd, but the Verdamont Neighborhood Association is hosting the first mayoral forum on the 22nd. That's going to be next Tuesday night at the Little League headquarters at 6:30. I encourage you all to come out and honestly pay very close attention, because during campaign seasons, people say a lot of things, and then, you know, whether or not they come through with that is a different story maybe, but holding people accountable and the ideas that are shared during campaigns are things that I think, honestly, the history of this country has been fueled by a lot of ideas, if nothing else. And if you like the ideas, encourage it. If you don't, hold them accountable. And so I encourage you to come out. That's going to be next Tuesday, the 22nd at 6:30 p.m. at the Little League headquarters, just to see who's running to sit right here. The restricted truck routes came back very, very fast. Thank you, Mr. City Manager. We requested that about, I think, 2 meetings ago. Long overdue. Well, we requested that in similar fashion because we weren't seeing it fast enough. There's a lot of work that our city does day in and day out, and I know they're overburdened. But the restricted truck routes, when people talk about infrastructure and a lot of the issues around it, it's directly connected to how indiscriminate the goods movement is. We love e-commerce, sure, but, you know, it's a big conversation. I'm not going to get into that. Just know that we need to restrict the truck routes so they're not driving through neighborhoods, not driving next to your church, not driving next to your school. And so the contract upon approval will come within a year's time so that you don't have to see an 18-wheeler rolling down the same street as you. It's nothing against the truckers either. I hate for people to paint that as though we're anti any sector of labor. It's ridiculous. It's for the community. I have 2 things around homelessness. Requested the formal partnership. I know a lot of my colleagues, and I'm sure we all on the dais here encourage and want to see a remedy and some kind of act towards handling homelessness in the city. And so I requested that we formalize a partnership with the Lutheran Social Services so that people who are doing the work, they've been doing the work historically in the city, and they're expanding. My vision was obviously to create our own space, but if someone's already doing it, why not go into formal partnership? And so we'll see how that looks, but as my colleague Councilwoman Calvin was mentioning, I'm very passionate about foster youth as well, and I believe that is the most vulnerable community because I've seen it, I've worked in foster care, and I've seen how people can unfortunately glamorize and become very used to it at a young age of being homeless. And unfortunately, I think that we have a direct pinpoint of what the worst case scenario can possibly look like when the York Rite Masonic Temple on Sunday essentially burnt down. And there are people who inhabit that building throughout the year in between election seasons when people aren't going there and frequenting it. And it was very disheartening also. I love our firefighters, but they weren't our firefighters. And hopefully sometime in the near future we can explore. Maybe the county seats will flip and we'll be able to revisit our property tax discussion so we're not having Rialto Fire Department in the city of San Bernardino putting out our fires instead of our people right here in San Bernardino putting out our fires. And so we're handling homelessness is what I'm here to tell you. And so I thank you. That's all my announcements.
Thank you very much. Councilman Charette, Fred Charette of the 4th Ward, sir, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a couple of announcements that things going on in the 4th Ward that actually are happen to be on the same day, Saturday, March 26th, 8 a.m. to 12 noon. The Dr. Nag group, that's Del Rosa Neighborhood Action Group, better known as Dr. Nag. They have their monthly cleanup, and you can contact Dan Doreen for the particular location, and he can be reached at 909-883-4039, and they do that on a monthly basis and work in the general Del Rosa area. Then on the same day, not necessarily in the 4th Ward, but at 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. is a community dump day at Paris Hill Park, and that's at 1135 East Highland Avenue in their main lot. So you can dump various items there. Again, same day, Saturday, March 26th, from 10 a.m. to 12 noon is the 4th Ward General Plan Update Meeting. That'll be held, a community workshop, actually. That'll be held at the Lutheran Church of Our Savior. That's at 5050 North Sierra Way. Clear up at the end of Sierra Way. Again, that's from 10 a.m. until noon on Saturday, March 26th. And then I've got another comment to be made. It's I'm not real comfortable about it being made at this point, but I think it needs to be made. And that is that we find ourselves once again in a situation that has put our city in kind of a real bad situation, and it's all for political gain by our currently sitting Mayor Valdivia. He has once again gone over his authority and announced for political gain which he should not have done. It's a confidential thing, and he's talking publicly, politically about the hiring of the police chief. So I'm not only asking or suggesting that we censure him once more, because I think this is certainly censurable, but beyond that, which, as you all know, a censure doesn't have a lot of teeth in it, I'm requesting that we have a full investigation as to where the leak came from. This is leaked information. I don't know how Mr. Valdivia got his hands on it, but he did in some way, manner, or form, and obviously wasn't able to hold it in confidence and couldn't wait to get it out on a public document for political gain. So I'm requesting that we immediately hire an independent investigator to investigate how this information was leaked, how Mr. Valdivia got his hands on it, and find out and get to the bottom of why this would come out and be public. I don't know if the city attorney has any comments on that. This is, again, kind of out of the norm for the way we get a request done, but this just occurred, and it's egregious in my opinion, and we need to look at it. It has put the city in, I think, a very bad situation, and perhaps even liability, and I just think we need to have an investigation of this to look into how this actually happened. If the city manager or the city attorney wants to comment on it, that's fine. If not, I've made my comment.
Mr. Charette, I think you've made your recommendation to our city attorney, so we appreciate it. Mr. Charette, does that conclude your announcements?
Apparently, there's no comments coming from.
I think. Well, it's inappropriate.
I don't think that it would. I don't think we can do that on the agenda. It's not on the agenda, so I can't make a motion.
I would just say this: personnel privacy is essential to how we operate our government. And a city manager form of government like the one we have, the city manager is in charge of personnel issues. So, whatever steps, whether that involves an investigation or whatnot, can be taken at an administrative level. If it needs to be approved through financing or approval by the council, would be brought back to you.
Well, then I will be making a formal request that we go and have an investigation into this issue.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Charette. Mr. Figueroa, the 3rd Ward, our Mayor Pro Tem. Sir, you're recognized.
Thank you. Mr. City Manager, I want to say thank you and express my appreciation for the graffiti deterrence program, the mural, for taking some of that initiative and getting that program started. I took some great delight in driving past that on my commute every morning, just watching the individual just every day kind of working on it. And in fact, I've received a few phone calls from residents in that area saying that, you know, they appreciate that as well. It looks really great. It's very beautiful, and hopefully that goes a long way in deterring some of the graffiti in the community as well. So, Mr. Kishta, I know it came through Public Works also, so thank you to you as well. This past Saturday, I had the opportunity to meet up with the Rancho West Neighborhood Association along with some of our officers and explorers. Thank you to Lieutenant Echeverria for assisting with the cleanup in that community, and to the members of the Rancho West Neighborhood Association for being very active in their neighborhood and taking initiative on their part to clean up their neighborhood as well. And I would encourage the rest of the city to really get engaged with your neighborhood association and participate in some of those cleanups. Or it doesn't even have to be a cleanup. It's just civic pride. Whatever it is that you can do and participate goes a long way. But thank you to our police department also for helping out with that. Let's see. The Advisory Council of Senior Volunteer Programs is going to be having their next meeting Thursday, March 24th, from 4:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. just down the street here at the corner of 5th and Ave Street at 600 West 5th Street. I'd encourage individuals to get involved in volunteer programs and helping out our seniors. In fact, I would actually challenge at least one council member to join me to learn a little bit more about some of the services that our city is looking to provide for some of our seniors. It's really a great, some great programs, some great ideas are being shared there for services being provided to our seniors. So that's March 24th from 4:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. That same evening, we will be having the general plan update for the community workshop that same evening, March 24th at 6 p.m. And that will be at the San Manuel Gateway College. That's at 250 South G Street. And so please come and join us and share some of your ideas as well, and just hear some of the updates. And then the next meeting since I just mentioned them a little bit ago, the Rancho West Neighborhood Association, they'll be having their next meeting Wednesday, March 23rd at 6:30 p.m., and that will be located at 445 State Street. And that is all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilmember Sandra Ibarra, Second Ward. Councilmember.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to start with asking for permission that we accept the recent speaker slip that just came in. The speaker missed the cutoff time that you had to give in our staff. If it's okay to take that slip, thank you. And then to continue with my announcements, last Saturday, March 12th, I did attend the general plan workshop held at ICUC 1141 Northeast Street. It was very well attended, and to have spoken to a lot of the young people in attendance and letting them know this is your future, this is how the city's going to look within the next 30 years. Your input is valuable, and having them interact was amazing. I want to thank our staff for also having bilingual flyers and explanation of what we were doing at the event. That is a huge improvement for our community involvement. So thank you, Oliver and staff, for providing the bilingual paperwork that you had. Next up, on Saturday, we are having SB Food Fest. The Art Fest, I'm sorry, the Art Fest. But we're also having another workshop on the location called Go Human Mobility Event. It's going to be held from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. during the SB Art Fest. So if you are out in the Art Fest, please come down to our Court Street Square and participate in the Go Human event that they're hosting. Also, on March 22nd, Ward 7 will have the general plan update workshop. And I encourage everybody, it does not matter what ward you live in, because the first part of the workshops focuses on the whole city as a whole. So everybody's input is greatly appreciated. And then the second part will zoom in on Ward 7 specifically. So March 22nd from 6 to 8 p.m., it will be held at the Ecclesia Christian Fellowship Church. And then on March 24th, also from 6 to 8 p.m., it'll be in the 3rd Ward, at the San Manuel Gateway College, here off of right behind the, on G Street. What's this? South of Rialto on G Street. So definitely come on out, participate in all of these workshops. If you work or live in the city and you think that there's certain things that could work in certain major roadways or streets within our city, that's where your input will be valuable. And then I believe that was all for me today. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Ted Sanchez, first
Thank you.
word.
First of all, last week I got to do a ride-along with Sergeant Gray in our police department and then Lieutenant Echeverria. And it was a beautiful sight. We had cops out there from the various agencies who came over and helped us. They focused in on a small area and put away some of the bullies in our neighborhoods who are the disproportionate troublemakers in our community. And so it was really good to see that, and I appreciate the police and the good work they do. On another note, it would be northeast corner of 2nd and K Street where they've done that, I guess, a proactive approach to prevent graffiti, because I was born and raised in that neighborhood, and the paint has got to be about 6 inches thick. That thing has been painted over because of graffiti probably consistently twice a week for the last 5 or 10 years. So we're hoping that this will work. We've already had, I think, about 5 days and no graffiti yet. And you know, it really, it's a beautiful thing because people drive into town and people who aren't familiar see that, and the immediate feeling is, am I going into an arts district? Is this a cultural hub? I mean, it's a picturesque scene. We have the train depot in the background, a beautiful shopping plaza, and now we have that simple but beautiful mural. And I think we can build on that. And that was the initiative of city employees who said, you know, we're checking the box by painting over the graffiti, and we do it real quickly. As soon as the graffiti would go up, usually within 48 hours, it was down. It was painted over. And they checked the box, and they'd never get fired for doing that. But they started thinking outside of the box. They thought, I love this city. How do I make it better? How do I prevent this from happening over and over and over again? And they did this. And so I continue to encourage all our city employees to continue to do that. And then also, it's a call to the residents in the 1st Ward, and 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Be proactive. Report the illegal dump site. Report the graffiti. There's so much that all of us can do. And I know we have the will to do it because I always hear about the love people have for their hometown. And San Bernardino is no different. We have a lot of people who really would bleed for the city. And so just take the opportunity to give a little bit back to our community. We are going to have a new city website up June or July. And it's going to be a modernized tunnel of information so that anyone who wants to help, anyone who needs information, anyone who wants to participate in making this a better community will be able to go onto that website and pull up information like this so that they can help contribute to making a better San Bernardino for everyone. Yeah, did I mention the Arts Fest? I haven't even mentioned the Arts Fest. That'll be the last thing I mention. So we have an Arts Fest this weekend, March 19th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. There'll be all sorts of activities. And if I know San Bernardino, I know there'll be plenty to do, and there'll be a lot of smiles and music and food, and it'll be a great day. So I invite everyone to come out to downtown San Bernardino this weekend. Thanks.
Thank you very much. At this time, I will ask, I'll go into my council announcements, and I'm going to ask staff please to please pull up the PowerPoint that I provided staff. I'll wait for a few minutes. Mr. City Manager, if we have that PowerPoint up.
We don't. It was submitted late. We didn't have time to load it, so it'll have to come to the next.
I'm sorry?
It'll have to come to the next council meeting. It was not submitted timely.
Okay, all right, very good. At this time, we'll go into our public comments portion of tonight's meeting. Ms. City Clerk, public comments here first, or the mobile public comments?
The comments in person.
Okay, in-person comment. Okay, at this time, Ms. Negrete, you're up. Welcome. We have 2 podiums tonight. We're asking individuals, we have 2 podiums. push the button in the center, and then when you leave, if you would please also shut it off for us. Ms. Negrete, followed by Paula Plunk, Marisol Alvarez, and Lawanda Ranger.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. I would like to know if any of you attended the last Tuesday's Water Board meeting at 9:30 a.m. I don't expect a response, but I hope some of you were there because there has been concern from all of you about the impact that we're all suffering regarding, socioeconomic status, how hard it is, gas prices rising. And we know that Birtech has a contract that pretty much last year we saw 2 increases in 1 year. So we're all paying more out of pocket, and now to see, and Edison's also increasing. So I hope that all of you are representing your constituents and speak against the increase for the water department, because a few years back when they asked all of us to start cutting back and saving water, we all did. We all started cutting back, and lo and behold, the next thing we knew was they were saying, like, guess what? We didn't have enough revenue because people were saving water, so we're going to increase our rates. And we're seeing that again. And how can they say they need the money when they're not even fixing the pipes? You go to 34th between Arrowhead and East Street. It's nothing but patches, and it has to do with the water department. So they can't come and say that they need this because they've done so much when they haven't maintained the water pipes. So it's ridiculous for us to be expected to continue to pay more and more increases when we're not seeing the services. So I ask for all of you to stand up and speak against any increases. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Paula Plunk. Paula Plunk, followed by Marisol Alvarez, Lawanda Rangel, and Jim Penman. When I call your name, if you would please stand kind of in our bullpen here area, ready to go. That would expedite and speed up our process. Ms. Plunk, welcome.
Good evening. Trauma bonding is where you become so invested in a toxic person or ideology that you are willing to maintain a relationship even at the expense of your own self-dignity for a few highs that are offered to maintain the false script of hope. Residents, parents, and voters are completely done with these fairy tales of lies spoken with such a haunting perversion. For all these years of selfish government, that this behavior has started a revolution for change. Residents, parents are looking for leadership that does not, say again not, include censured and verified sexual predator harasser Mayor John Valdivia with his do everything for me attitude, has cost the city its reputation and millions of dollars in the court system. Bullying his way through these meetings, if he bothers to show up at all, are archived forever. The words censured and verified sexual harasser should scream a big no vote to women across this city. Mayoral candidate Helen Tran maintaining this ruthless and ridiculous path for her stardom, using the mayor's chair for a jumping off point. Well, that's interesting, since Helen Tran is the catalyst for why San Bernardino finds itself in the court system. She abandoned her post in HR, ignored the pleas for help, and left for her political aspirations. Helen Tran's political aspirations has found herself illegally, yes, illegally, on San Bernardino High School campuses and field trips, indoctrinating these young scholars with what? Her best business practices. Her best business practices has now embroiled the San Bernardino School Board president into a web of deceit and mistrust, showing his true colors to an already stressed and shaken parent community. This narcissistic behavior in Helen Tran is recognizable in censured Mayor John Valdivia, and it is dangerous. Say no to Helen Tran for mayor. This election, June 7th, 2022 residents is here, especially and for community members who really care so much about this city. Dr. Treasure Ortiz, it is time to have a convo with her. She has never been afraid to stand alone against the crowd, but she no longer stands alone. She has strength and determination to make the city of San Bernardino shining to this nation, not shiny in greed and misdeeds. Dr. Treasure Ortiz has lived and learned early on hard life lessons, bringing her to do her homework and understand the assignment of becoming mayor. She understands the needs of this beautiful, thirsty city to move forward, not backwards in their thinking. Dr. Treasure Ortiz for mayor. She has earned this position, and she will wear this title with love, respect, and dignity. San Bernardino, vote June 7th, 2022. Your children's future is at stake. Thank you.
Thank you. Marisol Alvarez and Lawanda Rangel. Marisol? welcome, followed by LaWanda Rangel and Mr. Penman.
Good evening. My name is Marisol, and I'm a resident of San Bernardino, 7th Ward. I just, first and foremost, want to thank everyone. And the issue that I would like to address tonight is bullying. I was here 2 meetings ago, and although I had, my issues with Mayor Valdivia, they were not personal. And it seems that we have a problem here. It's very easy to tear down other people so that we could lift ourselves up. I don't think that is conducive to good governance. And I see that over and over. It's kind of disheartening to think that somehow by changing political figures that we are going to have the change that we so desperately need. I see that a couple of people up there have been entrenched for quite some time. Their arrogance is pretty despicable. They seem to think that it's okay to embarrass and humiliate the mayor, for one. And I just want to call that out. First and foremost, I want to pinpoint that 2 meetings ago, I heard a resident call the mayor a POS human being, while the audience or members of the audience laughed and applauded, and there was no call for decorum made. I also witnessed the same audience demean the mayor's position by demanding to know how much his salary is, and this was incited by another council member who suggested that his expense to the city was $349,000. There was also stated by a different council member that the mayor exercising his veto power is somehow done illegally in the middle of the night. That's not only untrue, it is completely misleading. And I don't understand why, considering the problems that we have in this city, the council members find the need to quarrel amongst yourselves. Just a point that I want to make right now, Council Member Charette, I don't know what your problem is. It seems like you're extremely bitter and angry, and we have enough things to discuss for that are pertinent to the residents of this city that don't have anything to do with your disdain for the mayor. So I just want to call you out on that and let you know that it's not pleasant to have to sit up here and watch this. I just wanted to say that I don't think that I know any better than any of you up there. I actually respect the fact that you're up there trying to do something for our city, but it's important that you guys consider that in order to be leaders, the leaders that we so desperately need, that our youth need. We talk about homelessness. This is a problem that we need to address from the root. And my time is up, but I just want to say, yeah, be better. Yeah.
Thank you. LaWanda Rangel, followed by Mr. Penman, followed by Treasurer Teese.
Hi, Mayor. Hi, San Bernardinos. I'm here tonight to tell you guys that leadership you can't teach leadership, but it's something that can be learned. Leadership is doing right when no one else is watching. A good leader seeks the Lord, commands his ways to the Lord, and the Lord establishes his steps. When it comes to the IE, we should never say that we're lacking. We should never say that we're in poverty or we're lack on anything, because we have land. How many other countries in San Bernardino counties, could say that they have land to grow? They have land to expand. They have land to develop. We have all of that here in San Bernardino, in the IE. That means with land, developing land is our wealth for the individual, for groups, for our communities. When I sit down and I talk with Jim Penman about homelessness here in San Bernardino, he had the situation immediately with solutions. The problem that we're facing here in San Bernardino, his solution were that we have so many empty warehouses. He would like to renovate these warehouses and start giving the homeless somewhere to live. And I really feel that's a good opportunity for us here in San Bernardino, because it's so many homeless today. And if we can get them out of the street, give them a start to start back into society, start back into the community, you know, maybe 6 months. But then he was telling me too, if he can only offer them a place to live or a place to stay for a while, and if they turn that opportunity down, then we have every right to arrest them and make them to do jail time. But anyway, the solution is to clean up San Bernardino to get the homeless off the streets. So one young lady said, we don't need to look at the past. Only when we look at the past, we know where we're going. Looking at the past is experience. Looking at the present is experiment. Looking at the future is our expectations. That's why I'm endorsing Jim Penman to become our next mayor of San Bernardino. They are self-aware, arrangement, personal development. A true leader always practices the 3 R's. Respect for self, respect for others, responsibility for all of their action. And that's what I want to leave you guys with tonight.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Appreciate it. Next speaker is Jim Penman, Treasurer Ortiz, and Mike Hartley.
We are presently authorized to have 287 police officers. We have about 271, including those at the academy. We have to expand the number. We one time had 359 authorized. That was not enough then. Riverside has over 400. Riverside is a larger city than we are, but has much less crime. The goal for the city needs to be a minimum of 400 new police officers. Where does that come from? It comes from taking Measure Z money and reprioritizing it. It's estimated that in the coming fiscal year, Measure Z will bring in around $41 million, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. We can get those additional 113 officers by reprioritizing that money, and it has to be done. We can't continue to have these slow police response times. We have to get proactive. We have to increase our law enforcement capability, and we will do that by hiring 400 plus officers. We will do that by doubling the number of code enforcement officers, and we will start using retired San Bernardino police officers and retired San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies to back up our police department, especially dealing with the homeless. We can take 2 of the many empty buildings in our city and turn those into homeless shelters. There are federal and state monies available for that, and Measure Z monies can be used for that. Once we have beds for the homeless, the city can start again to enforce our no camping in public ordinance. That means we can again, as we did for 2 decades, move the homeless, give them the opportunity to go to a shelter, but if they don't want to go to one, we can still dismantle their homeless camps, get them off the streets, and give them the type of mental health counseling, the type of anti-addiction intervention programs that we need to give them. Now, you don't have to wait until December when a new mayor takes office. You don't have to wait for me or someone else to be sitting up there. You, the council, can do this today. You can direct the city manager to increase the number of police officers. You can double the number of code enforcement officers. You can start hiring retired cops, and you have that authority. Don't wait till there's a new mayor. You don't need to do that. Do it now. Do it today. Our town is going to have to take drastic action to turn around. We can pat ourselves on the back and say what a great job the mayor and council are doing, but the fact is the homelessness population has overrun our city, and we do not have enough cops. Thank you.
Thank you. Treasurer Ortiz, followed by Mike Hartley, followed by Karen Suarez.
Good evening, Council. I want to direct my comments at you because as much progress and as many steps as we take forward in this community, Mayor Valdivia continually pulls us backwards. And he has done that by once again vetoing what serves in his best interest and not in the communities. And by putting out lies and misinformation about doing research, about telling the taxpayers that cleaning up the Oxbow is not in their best interest, when he knows, and all of you know for a fact, that what is up there poses a significant risk to the life, health, and safety of the residents. That what we know is he took money from the people who dumped the product up there, that no toxicology report was ever committed on any of that cement prior to being dumped in our city, that the emails are sprinkled with his names on it, that the two directors, Mike Huntley and Chris Jensen, are no longer in our city and no longer have to bear the responsibility, yet residents have to breathe in that dust that is toxic and knows to cause cancer. That's what John Valdivia doesn't want the community to talk about. But don't worry, John, I do my homework and I make videos. So the community is more than welcome to watch the history and the truth behind what the city knows, because it's well documented and it all comes from your information. So I know why John Valdivia doesn't want the public to know what's going on, but I don't understand why Teddy, Juan, or Fred would not want to have a basic conversation on the matter. Why don't you support open dialogue? Why do you want to hide the information from the public? What is wrong with transparency and accountability? Because Fred, you've asked for it in holding the mayor accountable for sending out emails under the name of Mayor Valdivia Community Update, when truly and honestly it was nothing more the campaign flyer to the same residents that he targets when he's stealing our money and holding private parties. This mayor cares nothing about this community. He has proven it time and time again. But you all hold the keys to the kingdom. You all have to take your place and be the council and the city manager form of government that we voted in here. Because there is no excuses. John is not the boogeyman. John is a sad man who serves only the people who pay him. But you have no more reason to sit there and do nothing. Because all you have to do is change the vote. 5-2 and Oxbow comes back. All you have to do is censure the mayor and hold him accountable and let the residents, the city manager, and the employees know that John Valdivia is not above the charter of the city. He is not above the rules and regulations that everybody else must follow, and that any potential candidate will apply in good faith. That he does not get to select who he wants, because we watched what happened when he selected who he wanted in PD. And then there was a robbery and an illegal weed shop that he was holding an event at, but nothing ever went forward, and no one ever talks about that. No one ever talks about the hundreds of thousands of dollars that he's taken from tow truck companies that we've been sued by.
Okay, thank you.
Give that update,
Thank you,
John.
Treasurer. Mr. Hartley, you're welcome to address the city council.
Mike Hartley, I've been a resident of San Bernardino for 62 years. I'm concerned about the cleanliness of our streets. I know before the bankruptcy we had street sweeping. When it first started, we had signs put up of what days the sweepers were going to sweep, and the residents had to move their cars or they would be towed away or ticketed. At the same time, they had a parking enforcement officer follow the sweeper. And most of the times, the residents did get the cars off the street. Now we don't have those signs. The street sweeper just drives down the street, sucking his thumb. He sweeps nothing, but he is getting paid. Is he getting paid by BirdTech? I have no clue. But I can tell you right now, it does no good to not have signs saying when the sweeper is going to come by. Makes no sense whatsoever. The second thing is tow trucks. There are a lot of accidents on Waterman and 30th. Now, under a contract with the city, I believe, tow trucks are supposed to clean the debris off the road. They do not. They will pick up a bumper and they will leave the headlight. It does no good. So if they have a contract with the city, they are violating the contract and they should be taken off the list, because I'm tired of cleaning up the mess. Next is code enforcement. We have a city, 61 square miles with 230,000 residents, and we have 7 code enforcement officers. Before the bankruptcy, we had 26. Now, Me being a manager, I know you don't throw people at a problem, but what you do is start looking at management, because there's a problem. You cannot, especially with this city, I can go 3 blocks in any direction and I can give you 50 code violations. Now, I went on a ride-along a couple years back with code enforcement. We had 2 places we needed to look at. It took us all day. One was an apartment complex and one was a squatter in a business. It took us all day. We have 7. In the budget, we have a budget for 12. It is now almost April, and we've hired 2 code enforcement officers. It's ridiculous. So, at the next council meeting, I will have more information on code enforcement. I'm just going to put the city manager on notice now.
Thank you. Karen Suarez, followed by Ernesto Hidalgo, Robert Porter, Louis Lopez. And Ernesto, we'll ask you to please get in the bullpen, sir. Robert Porter and Louis Lopez, if you would, stand on the wall for us. Ms. Suarez, welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Council, and members of the community. Over a decade ago, I stood at this podium to give a biweekly report to the community of San Bernardino around federal updates and constituent services in the 43rd Congressional District. My career has come full circle, and I have the privilege of serving as the director of Uplift San Bernardino at the Making Hope Happen Foundation. Together with over 50 partners, we are building a generation of successful adults committed to growing roots in the city of San Bernardino. I'm here to highlight the amazing work of our Small Business Resource Group. Our members include the Micro Enterprise Collaborative of Inland Southern California, the Inland Empire Women's Business Center, the Inland Empire Small Business Development Center, National Corps, the Making Hope Happen Foundation, JP Morgan Chase, MPHS Incorporated, Ampac Business Capital, Web Family Enterprises, EXP Realty Carrillo Group, the San Bernardino County Workforce Development Office, Economic Development and Corporate Training at San Bernardino Community College District, Centro Community Partners, and is led by our 2 co-chairs, Maria Molina Solano from the National Latina Business Women Association of the Inland Empire, and Monica Robles, founder and president of the Asociación de Emprendedoras. In 2021, 4 partners, the Asociación de Emprendedoras, National Latina Business Women Association, Inland Empire, in partnership with the Women Business Center and the Inland Empire SBDC, provided small business assistance and training to 1,050 individuals in the city of San Bernardino. Of those served, 75% were women, and more than half were low to moderate income. This resulted in the start of 42 new businesses and the creation of 82 new jobs. Our 4 microlender partners provided $766,413 in capital to 27 businesses in this city. In addition, there was a $1 million SBA loan and $288,800 in equity investments. For 2022, our service providers have set a new goal to train more than 1,700 individuals in the city of San Bernardino, resulting in the creation of 60 new businesses and the creation of 100 new jobs. In addition, our micro lenders have committed to support access to capital in the tune of $750,000. The Small Business Resource Group would like to thank you, to the City Council, for recommending staff to create plans for a $4 million microgrant program that is desperately needed, a $1 million investment in the Aspen Initiative, and encouraging an additional $1 million to support the education of our micro businesses and our food entrepreneurs. Wealth building is a critical skill set we need to make a part of our everyday narrative, and look forward to seeing these investments in our city come to fruition. In addition, a critical opportunity is the County of San Bernardino passage of microenterprise home kitchen operations that would offer home chefs a pathway to affordable incubate their food businesses in our neighborhoods. We hope to return at a later date to share more information with a wonderful group of leaders, and really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Ernesto Hidalgo, Robert Porter, Louis Lopez, Ben Pratt, Celine Perez, and Russell Denigan. Sir.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, and community members. I'm here to speak on item 4 today, and on behalf of the RDICO team, I'm pleased to endorse the draft vision statement and proposed land use districts presented by city staff and PlaceWorks to complete this major step forward for the adoption and implementation of the City of San Bernardino Downtown Specific Plan. This work product represents a model effort for an inclusive and collaborative process led by city staff and PlaceWorks with the participation and contributions of the Downtown Advisory Committee, the City Planning Commission, community stakeholders, nonprofits, intergovernmental agencies, as well as the RDICO team and other private sector developers and investors. The RDICO team wishes to thank City Manager Robert Field and City Planning Manager Oliver Mujica, as well as Karen Gully, Woody Tesher, Alan Loomis, and the entire PlaceWorks team for their inclusive and collaborative leadership throughout the Downtown Specific Plan process. We sincerely look forward to continued collaboration that can serve as a model for public-private partnerships that build equitable and sustainable neighborhoods throughout California. With gratitude and appreciation from the entire RDICO team, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Robert Porter, Louis Lopez, Ben Pratt. Mr. Porter, welcome.
Mayor, council, good people. First of all, I'd like to let everybody know that I'm a radio show host on KCAA NBC, and I'd like to invite everyone onto the show if they wish to. If you guys would like more information on some of the candidates up here, you can always put my name and put their name in the search engine on Facebook, and their interview will come up. Secondly, I'd like to mention that we have Arts Fest on Saturday. That should be incredible, so please show up at 10 and stay the whole time. It should be a good time. Also, we need more participation in our neighborhood associations. I'm president of the Valencia Neighborhood Association, and we really need people to start showing up to these things. Even if it's not mine, show up to the other ones, please. I'd like to mention that the Carousel Model Project is going really slow. So I'd like to see that sped up a little bit, at least something happening over there. And definitely we need history involved in it. If we can put our history, pictures, whatever, we really need that team. It'd be great. I'd also like to mention that, man, I had a whole big old list of things. Decorum in here is, it's a CSC. So like if we could get it a little bit better, team. We do have a code of conduct that, it might have been made for me and Scott Olson, I don't know, but like when it was made, we decided that we weren't going to be doing that anymore. We weren't going to heckle from the back. We weren't going to clap too loud. We weren't going to yell and things like that. So I would hope everyone would find that the decorum in this meeting and just follow it and be respectful. That'd be really cool. Man, I don't know, what else do I got there? Well, we'll end it up, I was going to say, I'm a commissioner on the Arts and Historical Preservation Commission, and we definitely need some funds, team. Like, if you guys could, order up some of that money that's in the impact fees and say, hey, we're going to put it in some of the grants, and then we can get it to some of these artists out there. And I'd also like maybe one for history. So like we could pay for pictures with little like labels on them and then get them to the local businesses that people frequent, and then just say, hey, could you put this up in your building, and like we can get our history out there more, and that'd be really cool. And last but not least, if we could stop dancing in the gray area of law. I hate to see censure and all this stuff up here. I'd rather get to the people's business. So if you don't dance in the gray area, then you don't have to worry about this stuff. Stay far back from the red line. Don't get near the gray area, and things will be better. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Louis Lopez, welcome, sir. Followed by Ben Pratt, Salim Perez, and Russell Denigan. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Council. My name is Louis Lopez. I'm a business agent for the Ironworkers Local 433 in both Riverside and San Bernardino counties. I also sit on the Workforce Development Board for the County of San Bernardino. I also hold a chairmanship for the Political Coordinators Committee for the Inland Empire Labor Council and the Building Trades Council, which allows me to see up close the many needs throughout the Inland Empire. And I can say that the city of San Bernardino is in dire need of some immediate attention. And with the San Bernardino is in dire need of immediate attention, and with the upcoming Carousel Mall redevelopment, that would be an opportunity to show the community that immediate attention is on its way through a community benefits agreement, where it is truly a win-win agreement that can provide better paying jobs with benefits, not only in the construction stages, but also through staffing for the jobs that come after the construction. It provides an accountability, just as most agreements do. It's also a binding contract that secures no work stoppages, trained and skilled workforce that supports many of the local apprenticeship programs that have many relationships throughout the local community, probation departments, foster care systems, that to my surprise have young adults up to their early 20s that need jobs. Helmets to hard hats, which just in the past 2 weeks, I've indentured 3 veterans into our apprenticeship program. And I, being a Marine Corps veteran and knowing the fears of coming home and not knowing what to expect, it's worth 1,000 words to be offered a good paying job with benefits. Our men and women deserve that. We all deserve that, including our at-risk citizens and even those that may not be financially or academically sound to attend college. Many men and women that are in our homes throughout the communities, whether a sober living home, a woman's home, a Christian living homes, youth centers that pray every night and every morning for a chance, a good job, a new start, a good paying job with benefits, an apprenticeship that offers good training, structure, mentorship, accountability is an answer to a new beginning, to many of those prayers. I know, because I was in many of those circumstances I just spoke on. And today and tomorrow, I will continue to stand so that others can stand and prosper. Your help is needed. The call has been made. I ask this council for your help to move forward with the community benefit agreement at the Carousel Mall. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you very much. Ben Pratt, followed by Celine Perez and Russell Degnick and Harry Hatch. Ben, welcome.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ben Pratt. I'm the Vice President of the IBW Local 477. Right up the street, we've been here for about 116 years, keeping the lights on in this community. And we'd like to have an opportunity to keep doing that for this Carousel Mall rebuild. So I'm here on behalf of the Community Benefits Agreement, and I'd like to speak about one aspect that I know works because I've seen it with my own eyes. One of our other locals, Local 11 out of Los Angeles, has been doing local hire in their local for a number of years now. And what that means is to take that job, to take that call, you have to have a certain zip code to come to work that day. You know, there are percentages involved of the workforce. So one great example is the city of Inglewood. When they started empowering their own people and giving high-paying construction jobs to the residents of Inglewood, the money earned in Inglewood started to be spent in Inglewood. Okay, so I don't know about warehousing homeless people or putting them in jail, but giving them freaking jobs, that's what we got to do. Okay, let's hire our own people and rebuild San Bernardino ourselves.
Thank you very much. Celine Perez, Russell Degnan, and Harry Hatch. Welcome.
Good evening, council members and mayor. My name is Celine Perez. I'm the chief of staff of the Inland Empire Labor Council. Then we represent over 300,000 working families in San Bernardino, Riverside counties in all industries from construction, private sector to public sector. And we're also part of the coalition Something Better for San Bernardino, which is a coalition made up of not just labor, but environmental justice organizations, of clergy, of community members, parents, youth, that are coming together and saying that we want something better for our city, that we deserve something better, and that now is a prime opportunity. I heard all of you speak about the different needs in our community to address homelessness, to address jobs, and the prime example opportunity that we have before us that we can't miss is doing that and achieving that through the Carousel Mall redevelopment with the Community Benefit Agreement. That so many of the things that our city is seeing could be addressed by just establishing the right standards, by giving folks an opportunity to have a job here, and to have a good job, right? But also have affordable housing and also address the other needs. We as a coalition had a town hall on March 5th to start educating and getting more input from our residents here as to what else we need. We had our initial ideas, right? But getting that additional input has been so critical. And I was really excited just to hear the turnout and what folks had to say, and then have the vision and the desire to see for our city. And to be honest, in our town hall, I saw a lot more turnout than I've seen in the general specific plan that PlaceWorks has conducted in those meetings and others. And so that we know that we're serious about really doing this together. And so we want to take this opportunity to continue to move forward and to ask for your continued support and making sure there's for the Carousel Mall redevelopment, a community benefit agreement, that we can't miss this opportunity, that our voices be included in this redevelopment to really set the trend of that we are going to build our own city again to thrive and have that money here and so we can prosper. And I would also ask that the ad hoc committee that's made up of 3 council members, for them to be able to give those reports to us during the council meetings, because we haven't heard a report. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Russell Degnan, Harry Hatch, followed by Karina Espinosa and Phil Savage.
I think that was so timely. Our workforce board, I sit on the Inland Empire Fair Chance Coalition, which we focus on making sure we provide opportunities for those that are returning home that have been justice impacted. And so, Louis, I look forward to speaking to you, because there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. The arts thing is a great idea, but if you go to other cities, San Diego, Redlands, they're doing that arts things there. So I think that's a great idea, great job. But there's other ideas that make common sense. It's not that common, but let's make common sense be common in here. And so I'm really just here because I love hearing Karen's update. There's a lot of positive happening in San Bernardino City. And I came last month, and I'm going to be here every month to just give an update, a positive update, to make sure we all are connected. Ted, I'd love for you to come to my campus. You're in my ward. You got there. You haven't been to my campus. Kim, thank you for coming. Damon, Mr. Alexander, it was nice seeing you at the homeless count, and good things are happening. So that's what I really want to do, but I don't think you guys know who Operation New Hope is, all right? So bear with me, because I can get off on a tangent. I love seeing the union, because our guys coming home from prison need jobs. Having warehouses filled with homeless isn't the correction. They need a job. Right, that's part of it. They need a place to live, but they need income, or they stay where they're at. It's insanity. Operation New Hope provides disadvantaged youth. We've been servicing 42 years this population, ages 17 to 25. We provide disconnected youth with wraparound case management services, workforce development, life skills training, career pathways, and supportive program services. San Bernardino Youth Opportunity Center is in the heart of the city, adjacent of the local police department, where the majority of at-risk disconnected youth will lead them with limited to no opportunities. That's where we're at, folks. ONH aims to alter the path and engage disconnected youth in programs that will cultivate cognitive skills, life skills, work ethics, and career pathway skills. For disconnected youth who are neither in school nor working for long periods are more likely to fall into the justice system. Poor health, lower incomes, and unemployment, because engagement in school or the workforce is critical to the transition of adolescence to adulthood. So that's who Operation New Hope is. I do want to give a little quick report in 20 seconds. The Prison to Employment, we're one of the contractors for the workforce development. We serviced 59 individuals. 30 are San Bernardino City residents. 30 are employed now that came to us a year ago and weren't employed. So thank you for everything.
Thank you. Harry Hatch, followed by Karen Espinosa, Phil Savage, and Maria Solano. Mr. Hatch, welcome, sir.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. My name is Harry Hatch, Ward 7. I want to talk to you about number 24, bringing back on the agenda fireworks. It's been 4.5, almost 5 years now since I started this minor project, and it's coming back to you. And I'm not coming to you with suggestions. I have a piece of ordinance, the city ordinance, which has been rewritten and given to you with changes in it that will give substance to the enforcement of fireworks regulations within the city. All you have to do is be able to count to 5. Bring it back and at least discuss it. If you vote for and 3 against, I know dang well the mayor will veto it. Thank you.
Karen Espinosa, Phil Savage, Maria Solano, and John Schollenberger.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council. I'm glad to be here. My name is Phil Savage, a lifelong resident of San Bernardino, and did my professional practice in this city for my whole career. One of the things I'm most proud of is having served as the leader of their charter review committee that's led to the present charter that the city of San Bernardino uses, and I'm just very, very pleased that we have a council manager form of government. I'm actually speaking to you specifically on behalf of that committee, and that committee, like every commission and board that the city has, is doing things for the benefit of the city and trying to get reports. We made a report 2 months ago specifically recommending that the city council put on their agenda and discuss ranked choice voting. My issue that I want to talk about is the rules of our city under the municipal code. The only way the things get on the agenda is if it's put on by the city manager, or if it's put on by the request of one of you that then is approved by a majority of the council. It seems to me that if you're asking members of the community to serve on your commissions and boards, and if they come back with a recommendation that something be specifically acted on, there ought to be a way that that can happen. And I'm recommending that you do some study and have something developed to see if the code, the municipal code, could be modified so as when commissions and committees like the one I represent make a specific request that the council act on something, that it at least get on the agenda to be discussed. And I think that's something that you should do, because a lot of people spend a lot of time on those boards and committees, and if we recommend something to the council, we would like at least to be discussed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Karina, Ms. Espinosa, Karina Espinosa, Maria Solano, and John Schollenberger.
Good evening. I wanted to start off by saying that I thoroughly respect every single person that wears a badge in this community, and I cannot thank them enough for their job. However, as a resident of the eastern portion of the city in the 4th Ward, I have gotten very used to being ignored, and that's fine. I live with that. So do my neighbors. However, the safety of our children cannot be part of what we suffer. Today at 4:04 p.m., I called 911. I did so because I had noticed a little boy walking by himself on Pacific Avenue by Victoria, which, if you're familiar with the area, is a very busy area. It turned out that a 7-year-old student from Cole Elementary in Highland had decided to take an adventure and walk home by himself. I'm sorry, I'm going to cry. By the time I encountered the student, he had walked approximately 1 mile. I drove him home, and no one was home. I called 911 and explained the situation. They said officers would be dispatched. No one ever came. With the help of another kind stranger, I contacted San Bernardino School Police and the school myself, who sent the principal to pick up the young adventurer. The child is safely home because of the kindness of strangers. San Bernardino PD never responded. I would like to know why a lost child in the custody of a perfect stranger was not given a higher priority. So much could have happened in the time that I had this little boy if I was a different person. It fills me with such rage and terror that for 25 minutes, a 7-year-old boy was with somebody that did not know him. I just want to justify why this call was not given a higher priority. I don't even know what I'm asking. I don't even know how to fix this situation. I just know that this is not okay. Our men behind the badges are doing everything that they can, but this is not okay. And a quick update, as I was writing this, at 5:05 p.m., some San Bernardino dispatch did call me to tell me that they couldn't find me, and I told them that we had gotten the child home. That was 61 minutes later, and I just want to know why that happened. Thank you.
Mr. City Manager, I want you to look into that, please. I think it's important for our community. Thank you, Ms. Espinosa. Maria Solano, followed by John Schollenberger and Christian Flores.
Good evening. My name is Maria Molina Solano. I'm the Executive Director for the National Latina Business Women Association. And this chapter came into the Inland Empire 6 years ago. Our goal is to support the small business community in the Inland Empire with a focus on Latinas that are starting their businesses or need help to move their businesses forward. Our programs support startup businesses as well as businesses that have been doing in business 3 years or more. One of our goals was to make sure that we were able to service the whole of the IE. We're a small organization. We started with 1 employee and 7 board members. And of course, there's no way you can service a whole of ID with 1 person. So what we decided to do was to partner with organizations that covered all of the Inland Empire, the Riverside County and San Bernardino County, with a focus in the city of San Bernardino. And we were very strategic about that partnership because we know the problems that the city of San Bernardino has had. We know that there's over 75% Latinas or Latina community in the city of San Bernardino. So when we were asked to partner with Uplift San Bernardino and support the small business community, it was a welcome partnership because we can do that. And so what we have done in the city of San Bernardino in the past year was to partner with the Small Business Administration and support them by accepting PPP loan applications for folks in the city of San Bernardino. That was, again, our primary focus. And we processed over 24 applications, and that seems like a very small number, but for an organization that only has 1 employee, that's a lot. And that was $1.5 million in PPP loans for the city of San Bernardino. As an organization, we provide Emerging Latina program and a supplier development program. And our goal is to get the city of San Bernardino businesses involved in the supplier development program purposely because Latinas and women of color get only 4% of contracting opportunities in the U.S. and over 51% of the population are women. So that's really ridiculous. Our goal is to get them to grow their businesses by getting them involved in supplier development programs and getting them all the resources that they need through other partnerships that we have. So thank you so much for having us here tonight.
Thank you. Mr. Schollenberger, followed by Christian Flores, followed by Dolores Armstead.
I'm speaking to the citizens of San Bernardino tonight. I read in the San Bernardino Sun, these are the list of your candidates for the June 7th primary. Let's take a look at the short list, okay? Let's start with Mohammed Khan, and I think his name is Mr. Aramillo. Who are they? I'm sure they're pretty nice guys, and maybe they have some good ideas and stuff like that. But to me, guys, I don't know you, and I'm sure I'm going to hear from you at the forum, but get in there. Before you take this step, go out there and do your work in the civic part of the community, build your reputation, serve the community that way, build up, run for council, then come back and throw your hat in the ring. This is too serious right now. We have a mess to clean up, okay? Then I see Henry Nickel is in there, throwing his hat in the ring. The second half of his term, I watched him in this council. I don't know, the real Henry Nickel was taken someplace and an AI created and programmed to vote along in lockstep with a lot of reckless decisions on this dais, and you can go back and look at it yourself on the tapes. I don't want to go backwards. Ben Reynoso's on this council now. That ought to answer that question. Okay? And I'll tell you another thing. I'm sticking my nose in this Oxbow concrete mess up here. I'm speaking to you, Vermont. You're my neighbors. If this is serious to you and you truly want something done, Ben can't sit up there on that council and do all the work himself. You need to get in the car in droves and get down here to this podium and tell this mayor that it's your tax dollars, not his. It's your community and your health. If you are serious about getting this done, then you need to back Ben up in this fight and get in it with him. It's your community. But and I know you're serious about it, but guys, it doesn't take much. Get in the car, get down here, and have your voices heard. This is your city. You're the boss. I can only rally the troops. It's up to you to get in the car and come down here. Thank you.
Christian Flores, Dolores Armstead, James Elbert, Noemi Lopez, Bill Perez, Jeff Scott. Welcome, Mr. Flores.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. My name is Christian Flores. I'm a community organizer with Inland Congregations United for Change, representing over 63 different clergy, congregations and families across the different areas in the Inland Empire. And also part of the housing component of the Something Better for San Bernardino Coalition. Also here to remind you guys of the priority that a community benefits agreement is for the city of San Bernardino. As many of our labor partners have mentioned, as we've brought this up over and over again, still to not have it in writing in the negotiations up to this point, we're going to keep reminding you, because now that we talk more and more about it, we're starting to make intersections with some of the issues that have consistently been brought up in City Council in regards to homelessness, housing, the need for jobs and well-paying jobs with benefits within the city of San Bernardino so that our economy can thrive. And let me connect it to the importance of why we tell our youth that it's important to be a part of the general and downtown specific plan meetings, because we say that the future of this city is going to be for them if it's a 30-year long plan, if the downtown redevelopment is a 15-year long plan. But the thing is, even us as millennials working salaried jobs, we struggle to get a mortgage and buy a home within our own communities. The rising rates of inflation have made things worse. Rising gas prices, because the oil companies are gouging, doesn't make things any easier. But in order for somebody to be able to get even to pay less than 30% of their income and be outside of housing poverty, within the community, you'd have to be making over $20 an hour for 40 hours a week, which is not common, even for people working in warehouses here. That being said, it's really of the utmost importance that we open this dialogue further and actually get some of this in clear writing, because we want to get past the point where we're just reminding you, and we want to be able to hold this community accountable to be better, because the future of San Bernardino and even us that are living here right now deserve better. Land speculation and property speculation has gotten worse, even as a result of the announcement of the downtown redevelopment. And folks were pushing their offers for buying homes $50,000 over asking price just to push those mortgage offers. And rents are being raised and people are being price gouged for like beyond what the state limits are.
Thank you, Mr. Flores. Dolores Armstead, followed by James Elbert, Noemi Lopez, Bill Perez. Welcome, Mrs. Armstead.
Good evening. This regards the meeting of May 2nd. Our audience, did you see the atrocity and the clown show of the May 2nd council meeting? Did you see your mayor and cronies in action? San Bernardino's only claim to fame is becoming the warehouse capital and corruption capital of California. Other developers and businesses are skeptical of coming to the city because you got to pay to play. That's not what we should be doing. We have potential, but right now, that's what we're viewed as. First, the warehouse moratorium. The moratorium was requested by citizens because we are tired of seeing warehouses built on every vacant lot. We don't want to see a warehouse in every neighborhood. We have more than 70 warehouses and more than half are empty. yet the mayor is getting paid to approve more. And don't forget his buddies up on the, got a couple of buddies up there on the dais. After the mayor vetoed the vote, and at the end of the meeting, the mayor and his buddies ran to the warehouse representative. It wasn't on TV because it was back here, it was after the meeting. They gave each other high fives. The mayor and his cronies, we did it, we did it. That is disgusting. That was disgusting to the people in the audience to see that they got over and got these warehouses approved. He got the warehouse moratorium. He vetoed it. People of San Bernardino, you voted for the mayor and his cronies. But people of San Bernardino, you have the power to vote them out. Vote in June so we can have an honest or more honest dais up there than we have right now. Regarding the mayor's position, do you in the audience, the voter, realize how this position has been abused by this mayor? He personally makes quite a bit of money, yet barely shows up to work what little there is for our type of government, our structure of government. We don't need that position this way. His job right now is to make money for himself and the other good old boys by selling off this city. Remember, this mayor also has the city on the hook for several sexual harassment lawsuits and hostile work environment lawsuits. It's our tax dollars being used to take care and cover this mayor's the transgressions of King Valdivia. We have the power to vote them out of office. Vote on June 2nd. And then lastly, I'm again advocating for staffing assistance for our council members. They can't do it alone. They really deserve to have a dedicated staff member. It is for the ward. It is not for the person, it's for the ward, and they need help.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is James Albert, followed by Naomi Lopez, Bill Perez, Jeff Scott, Ernie Regalado, and Orlando Garcia. Mr. Albert, welcome.
Thank you. James Albert, Ward 7, 21-year resident. I come before you today as the Voter Service Chair for the League of Women Voters of the San Bernardino area chapter. We're a nonpartisan organization, meaning we do not support or oppose political candidates or political parties. We study issues and we take positions on those issues. One of those issues that we've taken position on is known as ranked choice voting. The chair of the Charter Review Committee mentioned it earlier. And I'm happy to note that it passed the Charter Review Committee unanimously. This committee has been appointed by the mayor and council, and we're hoping to advocate that the council put this on the November 22 ballot. If we maximize the benefits of ranked choice voting, it's only going to need one election to be held to ensure that a majority candidate wins. And it would give you, the voter, the opportunity to list your preferences in order of greatest to least, instead of the current system, which unfortunately only allows you to vote for one candidate per race. And one of the things that we're seeing over the course of this history is candidates voters in essence vote for who they think is most likely to win and not for who they think has the best ideas. In this ranked choice voting system, we've seen it is associated with leveling the playing field in our electoral system and getting more women and people of color elected. And in a city that has a majority women, yet only 25% of those on the dais, I think this issue is a reform that whether you're left, whether you're moderate, whether you're conservative, whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, this is an issue that we've seen across the country that folks can come together on and promote and move our city in the right direction. And I urge you over the coming months to think about this, and we as a coalition will be happy to lead a presentation on this to the mayor and council, and hopefully we can get your support in putting this on the November 22 ballot before voters for them to decide on in amending our charter. Thank you for your time, and I urge you all to go to calrcv.org, where you can learn more about the benefits of ranked choice voting. And we're going to be at the San Bernardino Arts Fest on Saturday, where we'll be as a League of Women Voters, and we'll be happy to talk to you more about it there. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, we will have Noemi Lopez, followed by Bill Perez and Jeff Scott. Noemi Lopez.
This might upset some people, but we all have differing opinions about this. But I don't know why we're still talking about increasing money for law enforcement when we haven't fixed the attitudes of police and city leaders who create environments that encourage racist and classist ideals. I was here last city meeting talking about how my son was almost apprehended by police on his way home from school because he fit a description. And I didn't have time to bring up how the first time he was harassed by police was when he was 12, out with a friend at night, and they were both pulled over by police. But regardless of any arguments about kids should be home at night or whatever, I'm not going to keep my kid from enjoying his social life. But it does not excuse that my son was handcuffed and searched because he didn't have an ID because they didn't believe he was 12. The same thing that occurred again when he was 14, just recently. But sure, let's put more money into that system. I wish Mayor Valdivia was here because he's making the sweet deals over there in the background. So, folks, please don't blindly ask for more money when we do not have a stable system to monitor or be honest on where it's going and what it's being used for. And speaking of policing attitudes, it makes me really nervous to hear how so many people, and some who are trying to sit on the mayor's chair, want to talk about putting people in jail for experiencing homelessness. That's not how we progress and help our own. You want to talk down on those who have fallen on hard times? I was a teen mom. I graduated from Pacific. I earned a dual BA from CSUSB, and I've provided life-improving social services for our city's residents for the past 7 years. I did the things we're told to do to come ahead, and yet I'm getting priced out of my own home. How can I trust that I'll ever be able to keep myself and my son housed when there are people sitting in leadership who aren't doing what they need to protect us? Okay, we don't need more people coming from outside of our community to make their profits off of us without care about the repercussions about our well-being. We are long overdue for a community benefits agreement. I have been going to all the community meetings for the downtown redevelopment and the ward updates, and everyone is saying the same thing. We don't need more warehouses. We don't need more additions. We don't need to be expanding on our green spaces. We need a community benefits agreement. By the way, nice to see the mayoral candidates showing up for those photo ops finally, after never seeing them before in anything else, which no one's here either, so. And, you know, lastly, we're making it all clear. We need a community benefits agreement now. We cannot keep getting priced and left out of this communication, of this discussion on what's going to be happening to our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Bill Perez, followed by Jeff Scott. Bill Perez.
Thank you. Members of the council, I'm Bill Perez. I'm the Executive Secretary and Business Manager for the Building Construction Trades Council for San Bernardino Riverside counties. We represent more than 18,000 skilled craft workers, both men and women, in the two counties. I'm fortunate to have that position. It's an honor to represent those workers. It's an honor to work with the locals. It's an honor to work with the apprenticeship programs that each one of those locals and their contractors and contractors associations co-sponsor. Without that apprenticeship training, we would only be talking about jobs and not talking about careers. So when it comes to the right training, you move from job creation to career training, and that is sustainable. The Carousel Mall is an opportunity, probably the greatest opportunity I've seen in the Inland Empire, and I was born and raised in Riverside. I've been here almost 66 years. We've heard all night long from groups, from the justice involved, from labor, from the social justice, environmental justice. We've heard nothing tonight except for passionate, smart people bringing to you descriptive needs. The Carousel Mall project can go a long ways towards helping to resolve some of those needs. If we miss the opportunity that the Carousel Mall brings under a community benefit agreement, and for the construction part, a community workforce agreement, we're missing the entire point of redevelopment. Redevelopment means that the cities or governments are investing in their communities. Redevelopment never meant that public agencies with public dollars were investing in developers and brick and mortar buildings that got built, ran off, then we look for a new pot of money just to build another building and never have the benefits of that construction equate to any benefit for the community. With a community benefit agreement and a community workforce agreement, we not only can catch the training on the front end on the construction with the registered apprenticeship programs, but you can catch all the local hire and all the local benefits and all the local jobs on the back end and ensure collective bargaining happens through labor peace agreements or labor agreements. Then you now have a solution to poverty. Now you have established wages and benefits. That is the solution to most of the poverty situations. It's a solution to most of the problems I've heard brought out here tonight. Let's not miss that opportunity.
Thank you. Next up, we have Jeff Scott, followed by Ernie Regalado. Jeff Scott.
Phew. Yeah, take a breath. Good evening, Council. Just want to say my name is Jeffrey Scott. I'm a longtime resident of Ward 6. Been here my entire 30 years of existence, but my family's been here since '64. I'm here today as a representative of the Southwest Regional Council of Carpenters in support of a community benefits agreement for the redevelopment plan of the Carousel Mall, but also as a resident. When I go home tonight, I'm experiencing those homeless problems. Everything that everybody said here tonight, I guarantee you, I know firsthand. I've got an encampment right across the street from me. I live in between Washington and California, or excuse me, State Street in California and West Washington. I know the city's problems better than anybody. I've heard of the glory days of San Bernardino. I've never got to experience the glory days of San Bernardino. I think there are glory days to be had if we can come together as a community and do the right things for the community, starting with redevelopment of the Carousel Mall with a community benefits agreement. My job within the council of our organization is to outreach to K-12 community colleges about the opportunities and chances to be had with our organization, building bridges, building infrastructure, all sorts of different projects that we work on. But I often have to tell these kids that are living in San Bernardino, hey man, you got to drive to LA, you got to drive to Orange County. These are where the union jobs, union wages are, and they face the challenges. Not everybody was born into the equal circumstances. Transportation is a huge issue for the residents in this community that are trying to do better, that want better for their lives, but they don't necessarily have access to it. Having an opportunity like the Carousel redevelopment in their backyard would be huge. It's life-changing. It really is. It's not just I hate the term living wage. It's a mortgage-paying job. To be able to afford a house in this community, when I bought my house, I bought it from my grandfather right after the recession. Was very fortunate to have a good job at the time. And with San Bernardino, people didn't really have any value in San Bernardino. People are seeing the value in San Bernardino now. And it's pushing the residents like myself that have been here 3 generations out. I want to make sure that there's opportunities and chances for the kids that I talk to live and work in their own communities, to be able to walk down the street and, man, I built that project. I remember I met my best friend on that project. I got to do something that is a legacy project in my community, and that is what the Carousel Mall is. It's a legacy project. So I really encourage the City Council to seriously consider passing a CBA for the Carousel redevelopment. Thank you.
Next up, Ernie Regalado, followed by Orlando Garcia and Chris Reinhardt. Ernie Regalado.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and fellow community members. Thank you for this time to allow me to speak. My name is Ernie Regalado. I'm a local 909 San Bernardino County carpenter. I'm currently going through an apprenticeship. I'm in my 3rd year of a trade that has done so much to improve my life and the lives of my family. I proudly grew up in this and surrounding communities. I'm here to show my support in a community benefits agreement for the Carousel Mall redevelopment project. This agreement can ensure that our community members can be the first dispatch to work pridefully in our own community that we were proudly born and raised. It will give an opportunity for skilled and trained workers to work locally and be able to provide a comfortable life and great benefits for our family. Instead, hundreds of us hardworking residents are working in cities like LA or San Diego, for example, heading out to work in the dark and getting home in the dark, sometimes only able to quietly kiss our children goodnight while they're sleeping. Imagine that community member that's walking around his area down on his luck and has the opportunity to start a career as a skilled trained professional and be able to tell his kids that I worked on that project. How great would it be to pay skilled and professionals that are going to turn around and put that money back in our own community? I just feel that it makes so much sense to pass a community benefits agreement. I wish that I knew about these when I was down on my luck. Then I don't feel that work should be so hard to get. It should be something that it should be a right. You should be able to walk outside and just get a job in your community. Thank you for allowing me to speak on behalf of the skilled and trade workforce. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Orlando Garcia, followed by Chris Reinhardt. Orlando.
I think I'm still on. Good evening, City Council, Mayor, wherever he's at, community members. My name is Orlando Garcia. I live in the community. I live up in Vertimont Heights in the 5th Ward with Mr. Ben up there. I'm here tonight, just like echoing my brother here, Ernie, to speak on behalf of a community benefit agreement for the city. We hear a lot of the stuff that's going on in San Bernardino. Let's get back to the basics. We're talking about jobs, but not just regular jobs, good paying jobs, jobs that you're going to be able to sustain and support a family with benefits, right? The Carousel Mall, let's talk about the Carousel Mall. That's downtown, right? I mean, I remember riding the bike to the Carousel Mall in the rain. Now it just sits there, right? So when we develop it, you know, make sure we're being responsible and developing something there. That's not just for the developers to come build and erect the building or whatever the plan may include, but for your community members, the people in this audience, the kids that we're talking about. I'm a member of the Southwest Regional Council of Carpenters, and there I'm the training coordinator. I'm a product of the apprenticeship myself, 17 and a half years old, started in the union. Here I am, still going after it, okay? Now I'm here to represent your community. I'm voting here. I'm a voter here. You know, for years and years and years, I drove traffic all the way to Los Angeles. It's common sense. You ever look at the traffic, how many people live in here? Why is it so busy? And then where are we working? We're working far, far, and far away. Imagine paying the gas right now. It's hitting people's pockets pretty hard. You know, we're talking about the CBA and workforce agreements and definitely after construction as well. We got to hold these people accountable. We got to keep these criminal contractors out of here. The developers that just come in here and make a buck on our tax money, that's not okay anymore, right? We got to hire a local skilled and trained workforce. That's the way out of poverty. That's the way to develop these communities. It almost seems like common sense to a lot of us, but somebody said earlier, common sense ain't so common. You guys have the power to make this happen. We're going to hold you guys accountable. We're going to vote here. You know, you have a lot of community members. Besides all the drama that goes on, you know, we got to put our own people to work, okay? I think the local workers deserve the right to organize and have representation. If not, you're just sitting there alone, okay? And we know college ain't for everybody. We know that. You can make a really, really good livable wage having a skilled and trained workforce, having a backing of a organized labor, okay? I think San Bernardino needs to stop being the armpit of the county. I think we have a lot of potential here. It's up to you guys. You guys need to make it happen. We hear a lot of talk. I mean, let's make something happen. We got to hold these people accountable and start paying our people right and taking care of this community. You know, we're going to vote here. Just remember that. It's coming up real quick here. So remember, hire your local people. Put your people to work. That's what you guys are in the office to do. Thank you for your time.
Next up, Chris Reinhardt, followed by Oscar Aguilar. Chris.
Hey, good evening. My name is Chris Reinhardt. I'm the campus pastor at Sandals Church here in San Bernardino, which is right up on the corner, Parkdale and Sierra Way. And council members, for you, I'd like to do a project in your ward. Saturday, April 9th, we are rallying volunteers to move into our city, to come in and just do projects all over the city. I had a chance to sit and talk with Councilman Alexander, and we're going to be doing some projects in partnership with him. And this all started about a year ago, where there's an organization called One Day LA that comes into a community, rallies volunteers, and does projects. And so Sandals Church is one church, many locations, one of those here in San Bernardino. We rallied over 1,000 people to go into the city of Azusa and do projects. Cleaned up the streets, did barbecues for the kids, painted graffiti, all kinds of different projects in the city. And out of that project, we said, why don't we do that here in our own cities? And so we just want to invite you to reach out. Each of you actually should have gotten an email from me at some point. Same with our Public Works Department. Would love to partner with you. What are those projects that we want done here in our city? And then I'd love to partner with organizations that you are connected to. If you've got volunteer organizations or service organizations, for anybody that's here, and we can partner with you, let's rally thousands of people to come together all on one day to make a difference in this city. And then we're going to end with a party downtown, just celebrating what has happened in our city here. And so Sandals Church is a church that's here to serve. We're one that has come into this community, been here about 4 years, though the congregation that we're a part of has been here since 1925. I myself graduated Pacific High School back in 1998, been pastoring here in the community for about 15 years, and love this city, and I see what it could be. And so I want to partner with you. I want to partner with your district. I want to partner with your people. We know the strength in San Bernardino is the people of San Bernardino. And so we want to call them to rise up, all head out, and let's make a difference on one day together. So the event is April 9th. We're going to be kicking it off in the morning from about 8 until 1. I'll be here afterwards. If you'd like to touch base, I'd love to do that as well. And we're just going to make an impact here. You can check it out at sandalschurch.com/Dear California. You can find us on Instagram, Sandals San Bernardino, Pastor Chris Reinhardt. If there's anything we can do to make this city better, we want to do it. We've done amazing kids programs in the summer for hundreds of kids on our campus. Any chance we can to get out and serve, we do that. And so we want to serve you and your ward. Thanks for what you do.
Thank you. Next up, we have Oscar Aguilar, followed by Victor Rothler. Oscar Aguilar. Oscar Aguilar, going once, twice. Is Oscar here? No. All right. Moving on to Victor Rothler.
Good evening, Council. My name is Victor Rothler, and for the Council Mall, Carousel Mall redevelopment will help address years of economic hardship and poverty in our city. As a resident, I'm hopeful that this project can help bring the opportunities people need. I ask that you show your support for the community benefits. The city public monies must go into solving the crisis of undevelopment, housing, air pollution, and investment into resources the community has needed for decades. What are you doing to guarantee good jobs, affordable housing, and environmental sustainability at the Carousel Mall site? Demand that our community land trust and incorporated into any plan that is proposed to ensure we can house residents and cooperative businesses to incorporate sustainability in the long term. Together we are strong. I urge you, let's work together to plan a better future for San Bernardino with the Community Benefits Agreement in mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Chris, and I apologize, your last name, is it Natichia? My apologies. Please correct me. Chris.
No worries. It's Chris Natikia. My name is Chris Natikia, and I'm a faculty member at Cal State San Bernardino, where I've been a professor for 27 years. I'm also the vice president of the California Faculty Association. We represent over 1,000 faculty, counselors, librarians, and coaches on the San Bernardino campus. And as you all know, our campus has over 19,000 students. I'm here today also to speak in favor of establishing a community benefits agreement for the Carousel Mall project. For 27 years, I've been working at Cal State San Bernardino, and I've seen the Carousel Mall as it once was. I've seen it as it now is, and I often imagine how it could be. It could be a source of pride for the community. It could be a source of income for workers. It could be a source of wealth for small business owners. It could be a source of place for families and residents to gather and congregate, socialize, and meet one another. It could be all those things. And to make it those things, I know that you're planning carefully for it. I urge you, as part of that plan, to include a provision that prioritizes local hires so that the money that you invest in the community stays in the community and gets spent in the community. I urge you, as part of that plan, to include a provision for prevailing wage both before and after construction so that the workers who are hired can afford to stay in the community, can afford housing in the community. I urge you to include, as part of that plan, provision for affordable housing so that seniors can age in place. For 27 years, I've seen the struggles of my students. I've seen them struggle with finances. I've seen them struggle with responsibilities. Lately, I've seen them struggle with COVID. I'm asking you to please lift up their families and help them reduce their struggles. I'm asking you to please establish a community benefits agreement as part of the Carousel Mall project. Thank you.
Thank you. And wrapping up soon here, we have our penultimate speaker, Teresa Parra Craig, followed by our final speaker, Cheryl Brown. Teresa Parra Craig.
Good evening. I actually wasn't going to speak on this behalf, but when I heard my brothers up here speak, I wanted to say something. My name is Teresa Parra Craig, and some of you know me on the Board of Education for 10 years. At that time, we were the 4th largest school district, and we passed probably one of the largest school bonds in California. I hear a lot of people who are concerned and afraid of PLA and community labor agreements, and the issue is not to get rid of private sector. There's a way of doing it where you include private sector, you include our business, you include even our education, and you apprenticeship these kids into growing. There's a way. It's not a Republican, it's not a Democrat issue, it's a community issue. So as I heard them speak, there is a way to do it so that it's inclusive of everyone, and that's the principle, to make it inclusive, not to get rid of other people. So I hope that you guys will support that and consider that. I'm also here today because I wanted to give kudos to the 3 people at the right, Mr. Alexander, Reynoso, and Calvin. When you guys got elected, you guys took the ball and you ran. You guys have continued to run, and you've continued to be very involved in this community, and you should be commended for that. I was taught by my mentors, Judge McDaniel, Dr. Ernie Garcia, and Graciano Gomez, that you don't wait till re-election to do something in the community. You do it the second you're elected and the second you come into office. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here, because I'm really disappointed that after 13 years and after 3 years and after a bankruptcy, we've not brought the men in blue back up to the numbers we need to in San Bernardino. When I talk about the men in blue, I talk about the police officers. I also talk about the blue-collared workers. San Bernardino has the power now with Measure Z and funding to bring back our police officer in the ratio that we need to have San Bernardino safer. This city will not become safe until we have proactive officers to be on our streets and do what we need to do. I've unfortunately heard from the same council member that has sat this seat, and I would say an absent seat, because I've not seen a lot happen from this seat other than kind of whining and crying every time the dais comes up. I don't see proactive, I don't see policy building, I don't see leadership, I don't see anything that shows growth in San Bernardino. So as a female woman, and yes, I've heard you say I have filed bankruptcy and I am divorced, and gosh, that might be a lot of us in this room. A lot of us are qualified, and we want to run for office because we believe San Bernardino can be better. So as I am, Teresa Parra Craig, I am running for city council, and yes, I'll put the cart in front of the horse. I have filed bankruptcy in my small business, and I have had a divorce. Wow, that's a disappointment, I can't imagine. But I am running for city council, and I'm happy to represent all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Cheryl Brown. Ms. Brown, welcome.
Thank you so much. I've heard everyone this evening speak because I've been at home looking at it on television as I do my caregiving duties that I have to do every day. But I have something that's really got me so upset tonight that I don't know what to do. And that's I'm very, very concerned about people leeching off of our city. This is about the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. We keep giving our resources away to people who do not do anything for our community, and I'm sick of it. We have a local citywide United Way that's been around for over 50 years, longer than the people who got the $6 million grants to come back to our community to find out how to do the work and who the people in our community are to help them. The RFP was so convoluted that the local agency refused to bid for it. That agency, another one, got $14 million to do the work in the county, so I know they were qualified. City Council, you need to start protecting our resources. Stop giving our resources to wealthy cities in our area. Let's invest in our own community. Now, when I was in the assembly, we had money here for, I can't think of the name of the program right now, but we had money here. It was $3 million a year that was kind of basis for the program. We got everyone in the council who was up there to approve it. It was a great program, been around for 40 years. We had a mayor then who just decided that he wouldn't approve it. And he vetoed it after we all walked out the door. Be careful. Do for your own city. That's what we put you there for. It's important. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your community. People in Sacramento are watching everything that we do down here. And if, in fact, you want to go to another level, you really have to work hard. And you really have to stop giving away our resources. And yes, I do support the benefits, the community benefits program as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. That concludes our public portion of tonight's public comment. Ms. City Clerk?
We do not have any comments via Zoom. I do have one to read into the record per ADA accommodations. This is from Mr. Tim Duran. It says, what is wrong with you all? John, you veto the Oxbow cleanup. Why? Because Oxbow is paying for your campaign. They scratch your back. You tell them that they did nothing wrong. You're wrong, John. You, council, let him have the power to veto. It says, by the John, don't give him any more power. Bring it back on the table and vote to where he can't veto. You, council, are the one giving that the power. If you want any respect, you make the vote so he doesn't veto your decision. John, you do things at midnight that is shady, but why am I surprised since you harass people? You think you have power. Council, some of you are up for re-election. You are not doing a great job. Vote yes on the Oxbow.
Okay, thank you, Ms. City Clerk. At this time, we'll move and proceed on to item number 2 on our discussion portion of tonight's City Council calendar. This is the Emergency Rental Assistance Program updates, ERAP. The recommendation is there before you on behalf of the staff. This time we'll entertain a staff report.
Okay, the staff report is going to be given tonight by Corey Hodges. Corey, as you know, we've had some transition in the housing staff at the city, quite a bit of transition. So Corey we've moved the program over to the city manager's office. We've been provided quite a bit of assistance from the city attorney's office, Isaac Rosen and Gina Herrera. I want to thank them publicly for what they have done. But with that, I'm going to turn it over to Corey to make a presentation.
Thank you, and good evening, Mayor and City Council. The item before you this evening is an update on the City of San Bernardino's Emergency Rental Assistance Program, referred to as ERAP, and a recommendation to authorize the city manager to execute an agreement with a consultant to administer an allocation of the Emergency Rental Assistance funds from the U.S. Department of Treasury on behalf of the city. Just a bit of brief background for your reference. The city was awarded 3 separate allocations of emergency rental assistance funds in total, 2 allocations from the U.S. Treasury, ERA-1 and ERA-2, and 1 allocation from the California Department of Housing and Community Development, known as HCD, for ERA-2 state block grant. Collectively, these funds are used to administer the city's emergency rental assistance program. Now, some of the allocations to the city have been dispersed all at once, such as ERA-1, but some have come in tranches, such as ERA-2 and ERA-2 state block grant. The focus of the item before you tonight is the first tranche of ERA-2 funds from U.S. Treasury. And before I touch on the staff's recommendation, I'd like to provide a brief summary of the Emergency Rental Assistance Program since its inception here at the city. The city fully obligated all of the ERA-1 funds and has completely obligated the first and second tranches of ERA-2 state block grant funds. Now, the Treasury guidance defines obligation as a binding agreement that requires the grantee, in this case the city, to disperse funds to a third-party organization administering funds on its behalf for eligible ERA purposes, such as having applications that have been conditionally approved and are just waiting final approval and disbursement. Now, since the ERA program's launch, over $9.3 million has been dispersed to applicants on behalf of the city. Over 4,000 applications have been processed, and over 897 households have been assisted. But despite these statistics, there's still a need in the community for emergency rental assistance. Our current consultant on this program, Inland SoCal 211 Plus, has indicated that staff have over 1,100 applications currently in the pipeline, totaling over $8.9 million in rental and utility assistance, which brings us back to tonight's topic, obligating the ERA-2 U.S. Treasury funds. Now, the U.S. Treasury awarded the City of San Bernardino approximately $8.2 million in ERA-2 funds, 40% of which, about $3.3 million, has been dispersed to the city and is ready to be obligated to a consultant. We recently completed an RFP process, and we recommend that the mayor and city council authorize the city manager to execute an agreement to not only continue dispersing these important funds, but also demonstrate to the U.S. Treasury that additional allocations of emergency rental assistance funding are needed. And that concludes my brief presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Hodges. The recommendation is there before council members. Is there a motion for approval?
I have a question, if you don't mind.
Mr. Alexander, sir, you're recognized.
Yeah, thank you. In your presentation, thank you very much, Mr. Hodges, for it, and I appreciate it. You said you recommend that the city manager be empowered to
obligate the first tranche of ERA-2 U.S. Treasury funds. Those funds, although we were budgeted by the Treasury a total of $8.2 million, We've only received 40% of that, an initial first tranche of $3.3 million. And we're asking that you authorize the city manager to execute an agreement for that first tranche.
With Inland SoCal?
Correct.
And who is Inland SoCal? Are they in the city of San Bernardino?
I believe that their offices are in Rancho Cucamonga.
So they're not in the city of San Bernardino?
No.
Did we not look for a provider in the city of San Bernardino?
The way that we went about the RFP process is that we opened up a call. We used a list of providers or relevant companies that had previously responded to this type of an RFP, and we emailed them all the RFP and alerted them to the proposal being open for applications and proposals.
And was that list provided in this backup material?
No, it was not provided in this backup material.
Could you provide that information? Could you write that down? Someone write that down.
Absolutely.
And provide that information. See who actually applied for that RFP.
Sure. And I noted in my staff report that we got 4 proposals from various parts of the country: Santa Barbara, Rancho Cucamonga, Seattle, as well as Tampa. So there's 4 total proposals.
Okay. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. Any other council members? Councilman Sanchez?
Yeah, I just want to make clear that nobody local applied during this RFP process.
Yes, that's correct. The closest organization was located in Rancho Cucamonga.
And that's the one that's being selected, recommended tonight, right?
Correct.
Okay, move to approve.
There's a motion for approval by Sanchez.
I have a comment.
One moment, Ms. Kelvin. There's a motion for approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Figueroa. Ms. Kelvin.
So is that the proper procedure, Mayor? So my comment, and I don't know what's going on with the system up here, but I was even the first one to hit the button to speak. Something going on?
Okay, well, I apologize. Ms. Kelvin, you're recognized and you're using your time. Go ahead.
We working on that? Okay. So thank you, Mr. Hodges, for that presentation. So it is very critical that I make some comments here, because for the past year, ever since we received our first funds with ERAP 1, the council at that time, when we agreed on Inland SoCal, we did request that Inland SoCal work with our local CBOs in order to put out those funds. Inland SoCal did contract with 2 of our locals. Those relationships, monies did get out into the community. It was a very, very slow process, but our community members were able to be served. But I think the issue here still remains, and you and I have had conversation about it, is that we have at least 10 local CBOs that are capable of issuing these type of funds, and definitely working with Inland SoCal, but this has not been able to happen, and it's an issue, and the community is speaking out about it again, as they did before. I believe that as we are continuing to build and create all of these different platforms to where our community members are we're able to rise up from within. We have organizations in this city that are over 100 years old, 40 years old, in serving the community with issuing rental assistance, utility assistance, right, down payment assistance, assistance to be able to purchase boots and uniforms, all types of things. So it's necessary for us to truly, truly examine how is it then that the local CBOs aren't able to apply when they've been doing this work for so many years. How is it that Inland SoCal, underneath United Way, does not try to work with our United Way? We just can't continue to go outside of the city, and I know that the city manager also is aware of my concerns, and we just have to figure out a way. We don't know how many more tranches we're going to receive, right? But we do need to continue to work towards establishing a relationship, establishing a way to help our local nonprofits who are already doing this work and have been for decades to build capacity or the infrastructure, whatever is missing, so that they would be able to apply. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We're back up and running. Thank you, staff. There's a motion for approval and a second. Let's go ahead and
comment,
please.
Mayor.
I'm sorry, Councilmember Barra, go ahead.
10-4. So if my colleagues remember on September 15, when this came before us, I did question the fact that there was no agreement on the packet. I've had to ask our city staff for it on 2 separate occasions after that. Thank you, Corey, for providing it. So that's the concern that we're having, that this amendment that we did and approved was done without having a contract in that packet, which I questioned, and it is solely with Inland SoCal. And I want to voice the concern that my colleague, Councilmember Calvin, is voicing, the fact that a lot of our local nonprofits were excluded from this selection. And that's my only comment I have on this. I don't know if we can do anything now about it.
Thank you. Members, please cast your votes.
Motion passes 5 votes in favor. Councilmember Ibarra and Calvin abstained.
Thank you very much, Ms. City Clerk. This is item number 3, the general plan vision statement. The recommendation is there before you, and we'll receive a staff report. Mr. Field.
This staff report and the next one both pertain to the to the general plan and downtown specific plan. Presentations on both will be provided by Oliver Mujica, planning manager from CED. Oliver.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. In the summer, we began the first, what I'll call the first phase of the general plan process for the visioning, or what I call the daydreaming part of the exercise. Well, we've asked the community members attending the workshops and our general plan advisory committee members is to think forward of where we want the community to go. I know there's been a lot of discussions just about every item on the agenda. We're talking about where we want to go, different topic areas. And so what we're looking at a plan that projects out into 30 years. And so what we've asked participants and our committee members is to, if you were to close your eyes for a moment and open them back up and you're now in 2050, what would San Bernardino be like? And so that's what we're asking our participants to do, is to come up with those visions of what they'd like to see. I know in the beginning they start off with, well, what are existing conditions and those kinds of things. Once we get past that, it's like, okay, where do we want to be, in the future? And so that's what we've been doing in our visioning for the general plan. And so we had the project initiation, and then we had our general plan advisory committee that was established, and we began those meetings in July. From there, we've been having these vision workshops. We've gone to the different wards. We've had them in each of the wards, gather information, educating the public, and what is a general plan, what are the process, how can you participate, what do we need from you, and we're continuing that process. We've had our public outreach or community outreach that's been involved in that. We do have a dedicated website for the general plan, which is futuresb2050.com. So you go on there, you can be updated in an instant what we've done up to this moment. So you can go back, you can look at previous meetings. You don't have to dig and search to the city website. We've redesigned it, so now it's right on that page where you can go to past general plan meetings. You can go to the various documents that have been disseminated, copies of surveys. There's an area there where you can sign up and register to get information or to provide comments. And so that's been an extensive effort that's been done with that. What we've done with the vision statement, and want to keep in mind, is that this initial process, and really over the course of the next 6 months to a year, is really going to be a fluid process. And so the vision statement that's before you this evening is really the first step into guiding us for the next part. Right now, we've already had a couple of workshops in our second round, and we're talking about the land uses, where we're looking at where in each of the wards, we first look at one of the base maps for the entire city, and we ask the participants, what do you want to see? What are some target areas? And those kinds of things, take suggestions. And then the second part of the exercise is looking at the ward specific. And so so it's more aspirational, the vision statement for you. So there's nothing binding here. There's not an ordinance that's adopted. It's not memorialized in that sense. But what it does allow is a buy-in, if you will, from the council as to this is the direction that we'd like to see the document go in. And again, there's an ebb and flow, and when things come before you, we can make adjustments, we can make those changes. By way of background, on January the 20th, the General Plan Advisory Committee, they have reviewed the vision statement, I'll say, and they unanimously approved it for the recommendation of the Planning Commission. And then the Planning Commission on February the 8th unanimously approved the vision statement and make their recommendation to the City Council do so as well. With that concludes my presentation. Our recommendation is going to be to approve the vision statement. I also have Woody Tesher from PlaceWorks here that would like to make a little presentation to kind of give you a little bit of background, exactly what was done in the tasks that were completed, if I may.
Mr. Tesher, welcome.
Thank you.
PlaceWorks, a great company, and you've been instrumental help in
We
our
appreciate it. I don't know. Again, thank you for the opportunity to be here. Mr. Mujica really covered a lot of my territory, so I'll be relatively brief in terms of the coverage. I'd like to indicate one of the key, if you will, basis of this is this grew from the community. We had over almost 1,500 written comments that were reviewed and input. And if you look at the full staff report that is in front of you with the full text staff report, you're going to find hundreds of pages where we've documented and presented for you all of those comments that were received. All that information is also on the project website as well, so that this has been truly vetted with the community. It has not been something that's been imposed on the community by staff or consultant, but has grown from and is, et cetera. Just one other couple of key comments on this. A vision statement is intended to be aspirational. It's supposed to be, I think Oliver indicated, putting the hat on is dreaming into the future, what you want to be. You may not be there yet, but it provides some targets that you're going to aim for where you are in the future as well. Very briefly, which I can't at all read with my glasses on here, but let me jump to, this is the statement itself. I'm not going to read this for you. You have the document in front of you. I just want to emphasize some key words that are in the vision statement, et cetera. You might call them buzzwords, or you might call them anchors for the vision statement. It talks about San Bernardino being a community of choice. It is a community that is a gateway and a hub for the region, though not just within the city itself. It is a community that works together to honor the heritage, and it's a prosperous and an innovative city as well. It recognizes and capitalizes upon the natural beauty of your incredible setting within the region as well. All residents, all businesses, everyone in the city is treated equitably, et cetera. And that part of that equity is everybody has the opportunity to be engaged and participate within the community, et cetera. Talk about, indeed, in the vision, diverse employment opportunities. We talk about education. We talk about safe neighborhood. We talk about public services. We talk about a healthy environment for all. We talk about neighborhoods where people know everyone. People know one another, and housing for everyone at every age level and every income level, et cetera. And when we talk about neighborhoods, it's not just the house, but it's also the fact that neighborhoods have relationships to parks, and they have relationships to schools, and they have relationships to open spaces, et cetera. We talk about innovation, community to be recognized for its innovation and being out in front in terms of leadership in that innovation, which builds the education and the skills of its workforce and its residents in moving forward, which contributes to that healthy economy. We talk about, again, economy, a robust, resilient economy. We talk about transportation options for the future. And we also talk about the human being, the cultural and the creative expression of the residents being reflected. People thinking 2050, this is who we will be. This is, if you come back and think about we cast it in terms of, if you're writing a postcard and you live here in the year 2050, and you're writing that postcard to a friend, or maybe an email message in the year 2050 or some other kind of media that we're not using today, how would you describe the city, what it is in 2050? And that's that vision statement that we present for you on behalf of the community and behalf of the GPAC.
Thank you very much, sir. Our first question is from Councilmember Calvin. Ms. Calvin?
Thank you. Mr. Mojica, if you would please, the downtown specific plan vision statement. Let me see, there's no page numbers.
That would be that's the next item.
Oh, okay, I'll wait.
Can we move to approve?
Absolutely.
Move to approve.
It's a motion for approval by Alexander. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Reynoso. No further questions. Please cast your votes.
The item passes unanimously.
Very good. This is item number 4, the downtown specific plan vision statement. The recommendation is similar to item number 3, and we'll receive a staff report. Mr. Mojica?
Yes, Honorable Mayor and council members, this is the second part of our daydream that we get to participate in. It is the downtown specific plan, so we'll zero in on our downtown as part of our general plan effort. And what we're doing is similar exercise where we have our downtown advisory committee. We've been having in our workshops, we've also been discussing the downtown. We've also had some business owners and property owners within the downtown. Especially, we had a charrette for them as well to kind of share some ideas. We've also included RDICO as part of the exercise, since they've got a catalyst site in the Carousel Mall that they'll be addressing. And so we're working on the different first phase is, again, the vision statement, like the general plan, it's been a similar process. One of the things that we have added is that we took the approximately 600 acres of our downtown area and have broken it up into what we're calling land use districts. And so each area, there's 10 districts, each area will have its own permitted land uses, building heights, and those kinds of things. And so, again, all those will be flushed out in the next phases, but this evening, as part of the vision statement, we're asking for your concurrence as it relates to how we are breaking up the land use districts on that. Again, the vision statement was taken before their Downtown Advisory Committee. They unanimously approved it on January the 19th, and the Planning Commission did the same at their meeting of February the 8th. With that, I would also like to introduce Karen Gully from PlaceWorks, and she would like to make a little presentation as well. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. It's a pleasure to be here. So we've reached a milestone on the downtown specific plan. As you know, it's out in front and ahead of the general plan process. So not only are we bringing a vision statement to you tonight, but we're also sharing the proposed land use districts and the proposed build out for the 600 acres of the downtown specific plan. Go forward. No. Keep going. Okay. There we go. All right. So in your packet, you have a draft vision statement. It too reflects many of the ideas and passions that we heard tonight from your community. It is also aspirational and ambitious. There's much going on in the downtown, so it really is time to reset expectations for downtown San Bernardino, and we heard that more than once from your community. The draft vision statement starts by suggesting that downtown San Bernardino has emerged as the go-to urban center for the Inland Empire, and then the ideas are broken down into a series of themes. The first talks about the economy and the importance of having a high concentration of jobs in the downtown, not just public sector jobs, but private sector jobs that provide high-paying career opportunities in professional, high-tech, and clean industries. It also mentions how programs that are already starting out have actually blossomed and really helped people and local businesses to start up and local hiring. It also recognizes the importance of your arts and cultural scene that you have here in the city. Arts and culture thrive with unique programming, and that really wants to happen in the downtown, as you know. Local artists have many opportunities for being able to showcase their talents. It also recognizes the importance of retail and dining and those kinds of uses, and you know, highlights the fact that local retailers and mom and pop businesses have a place to thrive in the downtown. Streets, paseos, alleys, in the future will be busy and they will be safe, and they do provide a way for the public realm to be much more vibrant. Then there is the restoration and reuse of many of your existing buildings. You have, you know, quite a plethora of historical and culturally significant buildings, and those will be encouraged to be adaptively reused, and some of that is already happening, as you know. And finally, it recognizes that the new housing opportunities will be for all household sizes, types, and income levels, really designed and to really meet the demand for housing based upon the new jobs that will be growing within your downtown area. So with that, I'd like to move on to the next section that really does talk about what we're identifying as land use districts. These districts provide the basis for the future zoning for the downtown specific plan. As part of the SHREP process we had last year, some initial districts were identified, and through additional research and looking on the ground and the community workshops that we had, we refined those districts into 11, and I'm going to walk through each of them briefly. Essentially, we'll start with, let me skip that. We can go back to housing examples if you'd like to see those, but I'd like to start here. So the first districts we're calling North Neighborhoods, and they really do contain the existing single-family homes in your downtown. You've got some smaller apartments, a lot of vacant properties. You have some larger senior complexes, limited commercial, and then, of course, two really important elementary schools. They comprise about 117 acres. A total of 700 plus units, residential units, are currently located in this area. What we're recommending is that future development on vacant parcels occur in, say, a 2 to 3 story condition, primarily residential, with the idea that there would be conservation of existing single-family uses. We don't see a lot of change in these areas, but we do put the potential range of change from 5 to, say, maybe 25%, with the focus being on vacant and underutilized parcels. So that is the first series of 2 neighborhoods. Moving on, we have an area that we're calling the North Gateway. It is the gateway to the downtown. It contains some governmental uses, of course, institutional, offices, commercial uses, and vacant properties. It's about 53 acres. It has a small number of dwelling units within it. We're proposing 4 to 5 story mixed-use development with residential and non-residential uses, primarily focused along D and E Street, which is where your transit is. We see the range of potential change within this area being anywhere from low, say 15%, maybe up to 40% in the future. The next district is what we're calling freeway adjacent. We have to recognize the fact that you've got uses that are planned and currently being developed, as well existing, that really do take advantage of convenient access on and off the freeway. It does contain auto-oriented uses. It's got your fast food. It's got the Ford dealership there, and so we're recognizing that as freeway adjacent and allowing for those uses to continue to thrive. The next district is an important district. It is where probably the most residential development is likely to occur within the downtown. It encompasses probably about half of the Carousel Mall. We're calling it the transit neighborhood. It also has big box retailers and lots of surface parking lots. It has industrial. and some limited affordable housing. Within this area is about 98 acres, and we're proposing 4 to 8 story mixed-use development, primarily residential, with an emphasis on additional community-serving uses. We see the potential range of change in this area from 60 to 85%. So this is clearly an area that has lots of growth potential in the future. Next is what we're calling the downtown core. This contains, again, about the other half of the Carousel Mall, plus a diverse mix of governmental buildings, offices, retail, entertainment, and cultural. It's about 72 acres, currently no residential. We're proposing additional mixed use with an emphasis on non-residential, with high-rise buildings, and we will also be recommending what we're calling a Court Street overlay. It's going to be a smaller overlay within this area that really does try and streamline the ability for arts and retail and restaurants to occur, and new businesses to come into that area. We see the potential range of change within this district ranging from 40 to 60%. Next is the county center. Today, of course, it contains the county administrative complex, including the courts, 27 acres, no residential. There is a proposal by the county to consolidate some of their uses on those giant surface parking lots to a new facility on the north end of the county campus. And so the potential range of change is 30 to 40%. The county is making a significant investment, and that project will front onto Arrowhead Highway, Arrowhead, not Highway. Next, we're calling the county mixed-use campus. It is comprised of the 2 surface parking lots that are out there now with some ancillary county buildings. Those buildings are being proposed to be torn down by the county, with those uses being consolidated along Arrowhead. And that frees up those commercial parking lots for future residential development. We're proposing 4 to 6 story, office and residential. The potential range of change is quite high, 75 to 85%, because one of those buildings, the courthouse, will remain. Next, we're calling the area along Rialto as rail adjacent. It's primarily been pretty heavy industrial over the years because that's what was required, or that's what was needed. And today it contains existing 2- and 4-story development. Some of it is still industrial oriented, some of it's office oriented, some of it's vacant. We're proposing for additional office to occur here, and then encouraging a transition from the heavy industrial to lighter industrial, and encouraging even things like artisan manufacturing kinds of uses, breweries. You could also have bakeries, those kinds of startup businesses that like this kind of location near a downtown. So that's what you'll see being encouraged in the specific plan. And we see the potential range of change ranging from 30 to 60%. Next, you have the transit center itself. It does contain a parcel within the transit center that has been slated for future development, and so we're recognizing that as part of the specific plan. In addition, we've also folded in your Metrolink parking station that you own, and proposing the possibility of a future joint development project on that site. We see the potential range of change in this area of 30 to 60%, and proposing 4 to 6 story transit supportive development adjacent to the transit station. Really trying to take advantage of that. So let me just jump to the potential build-out table that we have here. Based upon the range of change and the densities and intensities that we've identified that make sense, or we believe make sense for this area, we are looking at a total build-out potential of about 15,000 dwelling units and over 15 million square feet of non-residential uses. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Gully. We appreciate your presentation. Thank you, Mr. Mojica. What a fantastic report and update to our community. We thank you for your hard work. And we also appreciate your work on the proposed upcoming truck route that's on our consent calendar tonight. So thank you. We'll open it up to Councilmember Alexander. Sir, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for your report. It was quite detailed. Thank you so much. On the District Transit Center, you said, do you know what the current zoning is there now? So what the current zoning is there? Because it says no residential, 16 acres, transit supportive development. And does that mean residential?
No, you mean within what's being proposed?
Right.
Yes, we would allow for that.
And 4 to 6 stories, multi-use. So is it zoned for that now?
I don't know if it is. Oliver, do you know?
No, it's not.
So we're going to have to rezone. Are we rezoning? We're rezoning everything. I know.
So what'll happen is the specific plan will be its mini zoning document, and so essentially, once adopted, not trying to be presumptuous, but when the specific plan is adopted, the 9 districts will essentially be it's a mini zone, is what it is. So it doesn't apply to the current zoning. It's new zoning.
Great, thank you. I appreciate that. And then going to the county mixed use, how do we know what the county's going to do?
Well, we've talked to them. They don't know what they're going to do yet. So as of now, we're allowing for a mix of residential and office and giving them an envelope within which to work.
Doesn't the county do what they want to do? I'm just kidding with you. They just do what they want to do no matter what we do. Okay, thank you very much. Fine report.
Okay, thank you very much, Councilmember Ibarra.
Thank you. So on page 229, the 5th Street Gateway Freeway adjacent project, it says here that, I must have missed it, the 28 acres, that's that District 3, I believe, on the map. It's already 28 acres, and you're proposing to expand the auto-oriented uses. What's the current usage right now with Fairview Ford? How many acres are they using up right now?
They are probably about a third, almost, or 30% of that planning area of that district.
Okay, because I represent an area, and I don't want this to happen in this specific area as well. If you drive along Baseline and E Street off the 215 freeway, I have a lot of tire shops, a lot of vehicle repairs, a lot of used car lots around those 2 areas. I would not like to see that happen here right off the freeway. I mean, this is a main corridor. I mean, we're talking freeway exits on 2nd Street all the way to 5th Street. If we can add something more than just auto use, I'd be happier with that rezoning. But to make it all, to expand the auto-oriented use right now for that, when it's currently at 30% usage.
When if I may, when we refer to it as auto-related, keep in mind the 5th Street Gateway project.
Correct.
You know, so we have that's and it runs up to H Street, H and G Street. So there's going to be some when we say auto-oriented related, it's drive-throughs. You know, we have the Panda Express, the Burger King. I'm sorry, the In-N-Out Burger. We have a couple of other of the
So you're
fast
talking about
foods.
drive-through, okay.
Yeah, so it's
I was thinking we're going to expand
we're not talking
into
brake
the
shops
whole,
and those kinds of things. And also,
because that's all on Baseline and E Street.
you raised a good point as well. The next part of the exercise, following this, with the advisory committee members, is now going through the land use tables. You know, so what we will do is we will go through what are the appropriate. You know, we're identifying the residential uses. You know, that's kind of built in.
Correct.
But what kind of commercial businesses do we want to allow in there. So it's going to be more pedestrian friendly, kind of a thing. So, and then the industrial type uses are not going to be included within that. So that's the next exercise, going through the land use
I
tables.
wanted to make sure on that one because I've seen what's happened along Baseline and East Street right off the 215, and that is not the image we'd like to bring into our city. So, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you very much. There's a motion before you, council members. Is there a motion for approval?
Motion to approve.
Second. Reynoso and Sanchez on the motion and the second. Members, please cast your votes.
Councilmember Calvin, waiting on your vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you very much. This is the public hearing portion of tonight's calendar. This is item number 5, the public hearing on annexation number 11 to Community Facilities District 2019-1. There's a lot of verbiage here, council members, so please bear with me and be patient. We will go ahead and proceed. The recommendation is sixfold before you, and the public hearing is to consider annexation proceedings and elections for the City of San Bernardino Community Facilities District 2019-1. Is that right? 2019-1, okay. Maintenance Services Annexation number 11. The public hearing is now open. The time is approximately 9:48 p.m. Are there any disclosures from the City Council members? Hearing none, Madam City Clerk, do you have proof of publication that the notices as required by law have been provided and given to you, and do we have a complete file of documents?
Yes, we do.
Okay, that's the affirmative. Are there any written communications on this matter?
No, there are not.
Okay. Do any council members wish to hear the staff report? Okay, I'm taking that as a no. We will now receive comment from any persons in the public in the audience who wish to speak and address the City Council members. Each person may address the City Council for a maximum of 3 minutes. Are there any members wishing to address the City Council tonight? Any members of the public? Okay, would the city staff like to make any further comments? Okay, seeing none, do any members of the City Council have any questions of staff or wish to make any comments before I close this public hearing tonight? Okay, very good. Hearing none, has the City Clerk received any written protests?
I have not received any.
Very good. Thank you very much, Ms. City Clerk. I now declare the hearing closed, the time being approximately 9:49 p.m. May I have a motion, please, to adopt the resolution 2022-55 of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, California, calling an election to submit to the qualified electors for the question of levying a special tax within the area proposed to be annexed to the Community Facilities District number 2019-1, annexation number 11. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
By Ibarra with a second by Reynoso. Is there any further discussion? Did you? Oh, I'm sorry. I need a second, please. There's a second from our council.
Second.
Second by Charette. Thank you. Members, please call. Let's do a voice vote. Ms. City Clerk.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
Councilmember Charette? Yes. Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, the vote has passed unanimously. Thank you, Ms. City Clerk. The resolution that we have just adopted calls for the elections within the property to be annexed to CFD number 2019-1 to approve such annexation and to authorize the levy of the special tax in accordance with the rate and method of apportionment to provide certain services within such property, which is to be held at this time by the City Clerk. Ms. City Clerk?
All ballots have been cast in connection with the election for CFD number 2019-1, and the election is now closed. Each of the ballot propositions have been approved by more than 2/3 of the votes cast in the elections for CFD number 2019.
Okay, thank you. Having received a certificate of the City Clerk certifying the results of the election, I now entertain a motion to approve a resolution number 2022-56 of the City of San Bernardino, and the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino declaring election results for the Community Facilities District number 2019-1, annexation number 11. Is there a motion? Motion by Charette. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alexander. Is there any further discussion from council members? If not, please call the roll.
Councilmember Sanchez,
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
Councilmember Charette, Councilmember Reynoso,
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin,
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. I'd now ask for a motion to waive further reading and introduce by title only an ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, California, amending ordinance number MC-1573 and levying the special taxes to be collected during fiscal year 2021 through 2023 to pay the annual cost of the maintenance and servicing of landscaping, lighting, water quality improvements, graffiti streets, street sweeping, parks and trail maintenance, a reserve fund for the capital replacement, and the administrative expenses within respect to the City of San Bernardino Community Facilities District number 2019-1. Is there a motion? By Charette?
Second.
By Ibarra. Second by Ibarra. Is there any further discussion? Okay, Ms. City Clerk.
Councilmember Sanchez,
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
Councilmember Charette, Councilmember Reynoso,
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin,
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. That is item number 5. Whew, that was fast. City Council, great job. Let's do this. This is item number 6, public hearing on annexation number 13 to Community Facilities District 2019-1. The recommendation is there before you, members of our City Council. It is sixfold. I will now read this long script for you and for our viewing audience. The public hearing is to consider annexation proceedings and elections for the City of San Bernardino Community Facilities District number 2019-1 of Maintenance Services Annexation number 13. The public hearing is now open at approximately 9:52 p.m. Are there any disclosures from our council members? Hearing none. Madam City Clerk, do you have proof of publication that the notices as required by law have been given, and do we have a complete file of documents?
Yes.
Are there any written communications on the matter?
No, there are not.
Okay. Do we have any council members wishing to hear the staff report? I hear none. We will now reserve comment for any persons in the audience. Is there any community members who wish to address or speak on this matter before us tonight? Sensing and hearing none, each person may address the City Council for a maximum of 3 minutes. Please submit your speaker to the City Clerk. At this time, we do not have any public speakers, Ms. City Clerk.
No, we do not.
Very good. Would the City staff like to make any further comments? Okay. Do any members of the City Council have any questions of staff or wish to make any comments before I close this public hearing? Hearing none. Has the City Clerk received any written protests?
I have received 0 written protests.
Okay, very good. I now declare the hearing closed, the time being 9:53 p.m. May I please have a motion to adopt Resolution 2022-57 of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, California, calling an election to submit to the qualified electors the question of levying a special tax within the area proposed to be annexed to Community Facilities District number 2019-1, Maintenance Services Annexation number 13.
Move to. I'll second.
Motion by Charette and second by Ibarra. Any further discussion? Okay, Ms. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
Councilmember Charette? Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. The resolution that we have just adopted calls for elections within the property to be annexed to CFD number 2019-1 to approve the such annexation and to authorize the levy of the special tax in accordance with the rate and the method of apportionment to provide certain services within such property, which is to be held at this time by the City Clerk.
All ballots have been cast in connection with the election for CFD 2018-1, and the election is now closed. Each of the ballot propositions have been approved by more than 2/3 of the votes cast in the elections for CFD number 2019-1.
Okay, thank you. Having received a certificate of the City Clerk certifying the results of the election, I would now entertain a motion, please, to approve Resolution 2022-58 of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, declaring the election results for Community Facilities Districts 2019-1, Annexation number 13. Is there a motion? By Charette?
Second.
By Alexander. Any further discussion? Ms. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
Councilmember Charette? Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. I would now ask for a motion to waive further reading and introduce by title only an ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, California, amending the ordinance MC-1574 and levying the special taxes to be collected during fiscal years 2022 to 2023 to pay for the annual cost of the maintenance and servicing of landscaping, lighting, water, quality improvements, graffiti, streets, street sweeping, parks and trail maintenance, a reserve fund for capital replacement, and administrative expenses with respect to the City of San Bernardino Community Facilities District 2019-1 maintenance services. Is there a motion? Motion.
Second.
Motion by Charette, second by Sanchez. Very good. Any further discussion? Okay, please call the roll.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
Councilmember Charette? Yes. Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, we're on a roll, folks. This is a good thing. This is our consent calendar. Are there any polls from council members?
Number 9.
Couple of questions.
Say again?
9.
9. 9 by Figueroa. Any other polls?
7.
7 by Councilmember Ibarra. Any other final polls?
Just
Okay.
a question.
Move the balance. I'm sorry, Councilman Alexander, sir, you're recognized.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Question on number 12. Just a question.
Okay, please proceed, sir.
Thank you, appreciate it. On the batch register, I actually do read these things, so I actually read them. So on page 502, line item, I'll get there, I'll let you get there, Director Whitehorn, before I start talking.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. And it's item number 899959. No, sorry, that's wrong. Date 1/30/22. Professional services provided to support the VIP grant program, $23,508.16. I didn't. Is there? Who is that? Is that? What is that?
That's to Hope Culture.
That's the Hope Culture Professional Services.
Yeah, Hope Culture. I can look up exactly what
Okay.
that vendor does.
I just wanted to know who it was. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Councilman
That was easy,
Alexander.
thank you.
There's a motion by Charette to move the balance. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ibarra. Members, please cast your ballots, or cast your votes on the remaining balance.
We'll be taking a voice vote.
Very good.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
Councilmember Charette? Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Consent passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. This is item number 7, pulled by Councilmember Ibarra. This is amendment number 2 to the professional services agreement with Advanced Pet Care. Member Ibarra, your question or comment?
Yes, thank you. Quick question, Kristen. The $75,000 annually, has that been expended? Is that why we're expending, adding an additional $75,000 to their contract?
Yes, and we do have grant funding to cover that additional amount. It's simply because we do not have another vet available to do any services, including spay-neuter. And so we've been paying for spay-neuter in order to reduce the adoption amount to incentivize adoptions. So at this point in time, we do need to expand the contract in order to cover the cost of those services.
Okay, and is Advanced Pet Care, are they, have they increased their fees from the last time we approved the contract?
Only nominally. Most of the expanded cost is due to the expanded treatment. With the grant funding from San Manuel, we've been able to offer treatment to animals that we previously wouldn't have treated in order to get them to adoption. And then also the spay-neuter for adopted animals, that was covered by the adopters themselves and not the department, but we've been covering that cost.
Okay, yeah, and I don't want to delay this. I just want to make sure, because right now I think we only have the contract for them, right, with them to do the veterinarian.
Yes, and we did put out an RFP in 2021. They were the sole respondent to that RFP, even though we contacted other vets in the city. I will offer that there is a shortage of vets and RBTs nationally, and in the county of San Bernardino, the shortage is fairly severe. I am looking for additional vets. We just started working with Western University, which is one of 2 veterinary schools in the state, and they're doing some spay-neuter for us, so that should offset some of the costs that we're incurring.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, motion for approval.
I'll
Item
move to
number
approve.
7. Charette on the move. Secondly by Sanchez. Members cast your votes.
Item passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you very much. Item number 9, this is adoption of a non-smoking policy affecting all wards. The recommendation is there before you. It was pulled by Councilman Figueroa of the 3rd Ward. Sir?
Thank you, Mayor. Like you said, this is regarding the non-smoking policy. I don't smoke, so it doesn't affect me any, but I just needed some clarification on this item. I understand its purpose. I fully support it. I get it. It's to protect non-smokers it says here, to the maximum extent possible from secondhand smoke. So I get that completely. Down at the bottom of some of the policy, some of the definitions identify. It says nicotine that is intended for. It's a product containing, made, or derived from nicotine that is intended for human consumption, whether smoked, heated, chewed, absorbed, dissolved. It goes on and on and on. My concern is I certainly don't want to villainize anybody that's participating in a smoking cessation type of program. So it's not really clear whether it says chewed, absorbed. Does that include like nicotine gum or like a nicotine patch? Because it says nicotine that is intended for, it goes down the list of different methods of use, whether chewed or absorbed. I want to make sure that we're supporting individuals in their attempt to stop, and that's not really identified here.
So if you're asking to clarify, we can provide a clarification. I think that's talking about chew.
And again, I understand the intention here, but
Yeah, if you're asking us to do a clarifying.
Can we include a subsection in here that states that? This isn't really intended for those who are trying to stop. So nicotine patches, chewing, so those methods are absorbed, which is identified here.
Yep, and it's a good thing you're aware medically of these sorts of things. It's clearly missed us. I'd like to ask the city attorney, can we amend this policy here on the fly with a
it's a
clarifying
policy.
motion?
We can add a clarification that it shall not apply to any prescribed or over-the-counter products intended to assist with cessation of smoking.
For cessation purposes, that's fine. And just a side little point, I understand, like it says chewing tobacco. As disgusting as that is, I don't really see how that affects non-smokers, but it is pretty disgusting. So
We're
I won't make an argument.
We're trying to take care of a lot of family issues all at once, sir.
I know, but it doesn't affect the third parties.
Maybe the vehicles.
But anyways, I'll move to approve with that little addition.
I'll second that. Okay, with that amendment, the Councilman Figueroa of the 3rd Ward moves it with a second by Reynoso. Members, cast your vote on that amended item number 9.
Councilmember Alexander, waiting on your vote. The item passes as amended unanimously.
Okay, thank you. This is, thank you for the consent calendar, council members. This is item number 24. These are items to be considered for future meetings. This is a recommendation brought forward by Councilmember Alexander for fireworks storage and use. Sir, you're recognized.
Just want to update our ordinances on fireworks storage and use.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Sanchez with a second by Reynoso to add it to future calendars. Members, cast your votes. Oh, I'm sorry. Councilmember Ibarra, did you have your hand raised?
Yes.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Just real quick, I'd like our city manager to please clarify how we get items here, because I did email this also to you last month, and it didn't get in there until my colleague sent out a second email.
Okay, well, we're going to do a search and see if we can find that email. I don't recall receiving it, but we'll do a search. What the councilman did
it
is
was
the
from
same.
the Public Safety and Human Relations
Okay,
Committee.
it's the same process. So we'll check it out, and we apologize for
Okay,
that.
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, members, if you would please cast your votes.
Item passes unanimously.
Okay, item number 24 has passed. This is item number 25, which is to establish a formal partnership with Lutheran Social Services and the City of San Bernardino for financial support and creation of further resources and space for homeless population with the city. Mr. City Manager, is this duplicative? Because I believe we already have these same services.
It is not duplicative. It is actually to enter into a formal partnership with an existing service provider to help them build out their campus. They have a pretty significant investment already, and they're going to make a much more significant investment. We're kind of in a self-help mode in terms of serving the homeless. We're not getting much joy from the county or anybody else, so we're going to do it ourselves. And we have a great partner there already, but this will give us the opportunity to formalize that partnership, help them to pursue funding, and really build out that campus. I even showed the campus to the city attorney today. We're doing a quick tour, and there's a lot of opportunity on that site, which a formal partnership between the city and Lutheran Social Services will allow us to pursue. So we are on the staff end very grateful to the three council members for bringing this forward. And I'm sorry, Councilman Reynoso, I think I might have stolen your thunder a little bit there, but this is exciting stuff.
Okay, thank you. Members wishing to speak, Councilmember Ibarra, followed by Councilman Sanchez. Ms. Ibarra?
Yes, I have some questions. Is this for Central City Lutheran that we have in the second ward on G Street?
Yeah, corner of West Virginia and G, is between G and H.
Okay,
Yes.
and the county's not willing to help out with building their second campus? 'Cause I love their idea. I love what they're doing. It's just there's been some concerns in that neighborhood already with the time when they let the ones who spend the night there into the streets, the same time when the kids are going to school and it's mostly male. So there's a huge concern with that neighborhood. I'm okay with helping them. My concern is that the county's not trying to help them out either.
We share your concern.
Thank you.
Councilmember Ibarra. Councilman Sanchez, sir?
Yes, I have concerns with naming a particular service provider in the recommendation. And the example I can think of is if Councilmember Charette, Councilmember Figueroa, and myself propose that Acme Asphalt and More formally partner with the City of San Bernardino for street repaving habilitation, there would be concerns that why did these three council members pick out specifically this without a transparent and fair process? How did we pick this provider over another? And so I am willing to support searching for a service provider through some sort of RFP type thing to create a formal relationship that provides financial support and the creation of further resources and space for the homeless population within the city. But I do have concerns that we are naming a specific provider because it doesn't happen in a transparent and fair fashion. And they may be the ones who are awarded the contract or the services that the city or the resources that the city can provide, but it shouldn't be done without a fair and transparent process.
There's no actual contractual, there's no money being promised.
But look what it says here. It says financial support.
Potential financial support in the future. And by the way, we would not turn away any of the other social service providers in the city from entering into the same, as long as they're a nonprofit, entering into a similar arrangement. It just happens that they are in a pretty advanced stage and have got a pretty robust proposal to construct various facilities are very much in need to, in terms of helping to approach and resolve the homeless crisis. And they have they were actually even on Good Day LA, I think, the other day. They're way ahead of everybody else. This is not an exclusive. This is not locking anybody else out.
I mean, it goes back to my example. I mean, we could have 2 contractors, but this one has already been picked by maybe some staff and some council members as the chosen partnership for our homeless outreach. And I don't think that's right, because there's other service providers who are going to say, we've been here longer, we've been doing this, why weren't we picked? Why did the city, without a fair and transparent process, vet all these service providers? So I'm perfectly fine with tackling this, but we can't establish a relationship before the entire council, the entire governing body here in the city, has had the opportunity to vet the service providers, because there are many, right? We've talked about it, how many providers, they come and they speak about the good work they do. I really can't support this if we're naming and favoring one provider already without a fair and transparent process.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Figueroa, sir.
I'll withdraw my comment simply just because I was going to say exactly the same thing, copy and paste of what Councilman Sanchez just said. So for the sake of saving time, it's literally exactly the same thing that he said.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Charette, sir.
My comment will be, I tend to agree with what's been said here, and yet the homeless issue is such that we've got to be doing all we can. Did they come to us, or did we go to them, and are others coming to us asking for us to partner with them?
They have approached us on multiple occasions.
Why wouldn't they have just come to us and made a proposal and asked us to be a partner with them, rather than go about it this process?
There's no requirement that this be done. This is more of an expression of will than anything else.
Okay.
And what we would hope to...
And I'm very supportive, by the way. I'm very supportive of that group. I've worked with them over the years. I've been to their facilities. I know it's quite a campus, and they've got a clinic there. They've got all kinds of good stuff going on there.
I think what's important here to be mindful of is that this is, as I said, it's an expression of goodwill. It is an expression of an agreement to work together on this crisis. As I said, it doesn't preclude anybody else from entering into a similar arrangement with us. What it also does, though, I think, is send a message to the world around here, if you will, that we are prepared to enter into these relationships because we are very serious about tackling homelessness. You don't see anybody else doing this. We can get out, this gives us the opportunity to kind of get out in front of something that nobody else is even addressing. I mean, some people are hiring contractors to do certain things, which is fine, that's their approach, but in this instance, because they have come to us and said, we have a proposal, we would like to have a government partner, and we agree, it's sort of it has a potential to be a game changer. As I said, you don't see a lot of other jurisdictions doing this, and so it could put us sort of at the forefront of what maybe could become a trend at some point. But mostly it's a more distant relationship than a partnership where we're going to work together on this particular issue. So that's why we entertained it, why we brought it, why we thought, and we are grateful again to the council members for bringing this forward. Now, if it needs to be modified, that's fine. If it doesn't pass tonight, I mean, look, there is no requirement that we do this. We can support them anyway. Yeah. So if we don't, we don't. We recommend that you do, but that is entirely the council's call. It's a policy decision.
Thank you. Councilmember, I'm sorry, go
I
ahead.
was just going to make a comment that my understanding is that Lutheran Social Services we want them as a partner without a doubt. They're one of the biggest, I think, in the country, maybe the world. I mean, like, very, very huge organization providing social services to homeless issues and these types of issues. So I'll support at least bringing it back to talk about it all and look at and listen to their proposals. So,
Councilmember Ibarra, quick comment? Question?
Just a quick comment, as a reminder, not too long ago, we also just gave them $500,000 of CDBG funding or ESG funding to fix their current locations on G and I believe Virginia. I would hope that they're not strongly believing that we are going to provide them for all the funding for their second campus. They have to seek funding from the county because a lot of the people that they serve are not all from the city. And that's something that we should start having a communication with the county. I'm very reserved with this because it is solely in my ward, and the fact that it was 3 council members who are not in the second ward bringing this up, it kind of rubs me the wrong way, sorry, because I know the concerns from that community.
Councilmember Kelvin?
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to just point out a couple of things. When we're addressing the issues of homelessness, this isn't about wards, it is about the city. That's number one. Number two, we need to their points, we do want to make sure that every organization in this city that is building out and creating beds for our unsheltered, please come to us and ask for and present your proposal or present your ideas about how you can help too, because I then would expect that we would also bring them forward, put them on the agenda, speak to them as well, because we are 8,000 beds short in this city, 8,000, being able to house. This is how many folks that we need to house in this city. So what we're trying to do is establish precedents that says we are wanting to partner, because we have been to the county, and we are wanting to partner with whatever organization out there that is in the process, already in the business, providing beds, needing to branch out, needing to help us with our issue of homelessness. Please come forward and speak to the city.
Okay, members, there's a motion, a second. Cast your votes on adding this to a future agenda.
Motion to approve.
Yeah, there wasn't a motion.
Oh, okay, well, Reynoso on the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
By Kelvin. Members, cast your votes.
Motion passes with 6 votes in favor. Councilmember Ibarra is abstaining.
Okay, thank you very much. I want to commend our staff and our public employees in the city of San Bernardino. Thank you. We're seeing some progress, and we appreciate it. We thank you for your patience. And to our viewing audience tonight, thank you for joining us and those members of the public. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.